According to what the man said, the three soon found the old cave where the five-star club was steering, and discussed how to attack at the cave entrance. Even if they are sure that they can get in and get out, the five-star club has a long history. There must be some mystery in it. Such recklessness is not their style. Of course, this time, I feel like trying water. Since there are so many secrets in this upper boundary, no one is allowed to break it first. Only by arousing some water spray can we see the situation clearly. Cloud Dance and others secretly discussed, and soon assigned the action. Long Qingxia is responsible for causing a riot at the gate and leading people out. The Shangguan ambushes at the gate, which forces them not to take a step. As for Yunwu, go to the cave and set a fire. Little thing, what's the reward after this time? When Yunwu is ready to get up, Dragon Qingxia suddenly comes with such a sentence. Cloud Dance Leng for a while, and Long Qing Evil look at each other for a while, just understand what Long Qing Evil mouth is saying, Fundus flash a helpless. But his cheek flashed a touch of heat, can't you be serious once? No, Long Qingxia replied simply and decisively, and at the same time bullied him, since you are sorry, I'll do it myself. While talking, Cloud Dance has not yet come and dodge, was imprisoned in the arms of Dragon Qingxia to ask for a deep kiss. When he was let go, the next Shangguan was shocked and turned into a naked dislike. And Cloud Dance is also on the face burst red, stare Dragon Qing Evil one eye, stamp foot to turn round to enter. The belly of Long Qingxia's thumb rubbed the lip, and the smile was meaningful. It was not difficult to see the aftertaste in his eyes. Shangguan was really stunned. He took a look at Long Qingxia, and he felt that this is the real man who can accept such a rebellious and cold person as Yunwu. And the bottom of my heart, it is directly ignored, so slightly astringent gloomy. It's about a year after the Cloud Dance. Long Qingxia estimated that it was almost the same time. He nodded to the superior officer. Shangguan flies to one side, while Long Qingxia stands at the entrance of the cave. With a smile on his face, he gathers the power of elements and hits the top of the cave without hesitation. Boom! With a loud noise, the rubble fell one after another, shaking the earth and mountains. Some of the people who were meeting at the headquarters also got up in a panic. You know, this base, however, is set up in the cave. The only people who can shake it are strong and powerful people. It also means that the base is likely to be destroyed. Who's out there? One of the slightly younger men was the most alarmed and looked at the door. The elder man, who was sitting on the throne, had similar eyebrows to the man who had died in Yunwu's hands before, but also had more treachery and dignity. At this time, the door was suddenly pushed open, and a young man in a uniform rushed in. Helmsman, no. I don't know who's coming at the gate. It's blowing the cave. If we go on like this, we won't be able to support ourselves here. As if in order to cater to his words, a piece of gravel suddenly fell from the cave and fell in the middle of several people. There was a sudden silence, and the elder man on the throne finally spoke in a low voice, Wu Ji, take people out to have a look. The young man who was the first to panic hugged his fist and nodded. Yes, Wu Ji took people out, and the remaining people, and those people, are the hall leaders with a certain status. When they looked at the helmsman one by one, there was no lack of irony in their eyes. Helmsman, isn't it your son who caused any trouble? Come back. The only people who can know about this base are the members of the five-star club. Now that outsiders have come, it can only be said that someone has leaked the location of the five-star meeting. And the only possibility is that the second son who depends on his father, I told others the location of our base. The helmsman still thought carefully whether to let your son take the helmsman's hat. If we go on like this, our five-star sub-rudder will be finished, right? In the face of the public's doubt, the helmsman's face turned red, and some blue veins burst out of his forehead. But after all the people were silent, they said in a cold voice, can you question the son of our helmsman? If you don't think the strength of cultivation is enough, don't go out to experience it. He still has the identity of helmsman in secret, but on the surface, he gives this position to his son, which is also experience. But now it seems that the situation is not good, so the old boss is the guy's father. It's like that. As early as just now, let Black AO help a favor, sneak in Cloud Dance, hide on the beam. At this time, hearing this, Yunwoo couldn't help chucking her lips, and her eyes flashed a trace of light. While one of them was unprepared, the dart in his hand caught a trace of black fire, and he immediately took off. Sun also at that moment, Cloud Dance figure a flash, quickly escape from this conference room, only here behind a scream and a riot. Next, take the gift from my girl. Who is it? The helmsman let out a roar of anger and released his authority, which swept the whole conference room like a flood. The cultivation is a little worse, everyone is, the complexion suddenly changes pale, reluctantly stops, also some steps falter. Helmsman, someone must have plotted against us. Go out and have a look. One of them suggested that no matter how dissatisfied they are with the helmsman, they should not be able to bury their own lives. The helmsman pondered for a moment and gave a cold hum. He knew in his heart that it was not the time to investigate. He walked away and the people behind him quickly followed. All the disciples outside didn't know what was going on. Although they were serious, they were still confused and flustered. This has never happened at this time. Who is it? How dare they attack the territory of the 5-star club? Seeing the helmsman come out, they cast their eyes one by one. Let's get ready. It's mostly exposed here. We should clean up some important things and prepare for the transfer. The experience of the helmsman for so many years is not in vain. When we analyze the current situation, someone must have exposed the position of the branch helm. Their branch rudder is different from other branch rudders. They are just the branch rudder for training new people. Almost all of these disciples are just new people who haven't been fully opened up. It's absolutely the most stupid behavior to fight hard. Of course, outsiders don't know this. As for whether the location of their branch base was leaked by his son, he didn't want to think about it. If so, something must have happened to his only son. At this point, the helmsman's face was even more ugly. He chose some excellent ones to follow and was ready to go out to see if there was an ambush. If someone really wanted to do it on purpose, he should be cautious. However, as soon as he stepped out of the gate, he saw the ground in front of him. Not far from the entrance, there was a bloody corpse, and there were some gravel scattered around. But the entrance of the cave was quiet, and no one seemed to move. The helmsman frowned and took 2 steps. But as soon as I stepped out of the cave, I felt a strong wind coming. I quickly resisted it, stepped back 2 steps, and saw the 2 people who suddenly appeared in front of me. At first, I was stunned. But when he saw the golden eyes of Dragon Qingxia, his eyes suddenly shrank, and a look of surprise swept over his eyes. It's you. I've been looking for you very hard. You've brought it to me by yourself. The helmsman squinted at the rebellious young man in front of him, and his body was full of danger. Dragon Qing evil smell speech, for his words seems not too unexpected, mouth slightly evil spirit outline, expression dark down, still with a touch of evil smile. Confront the old helmsman. If I don't come, how can I tell you where the sun is? The information in his hand is very reliable. Since the people of the 5-star society are looking for his whereabouts, they must know that he has special marks. And the only special thing about him is the silver silk and the golden pupil. Silver now put on black hair, but his eyes are golden, but he deliberately did not cover. At least, at this moment, he would like to see what the expression of the so-called 5-star club looks like when they see him. Now that he saw it, he said that he could kill at last. Thinking of the killing that will be provoked soon, the blood of Dragon Qingxia seems to be boiling inexplicably. The pores of the whole body are open because of excitement, and the golden pupil twinkles so familiar that the killing is bloody. On the contrary, his bloodthirsty eyes suddenly made the old helmsman shudder. It's like in his eyes, he is a dead man. In addition, just dragon poor evil next words, instantly fear into anger. What did you say? The voice of the old helmsman was uncertain and threatening. Knowing what it is, but still can't believe, asked once. Dragon Qing evil rare with his words again, repeated once. If I don't come, how can I tell you that your precious son has been eaten up by Warcraft in the forest? You. The pilot's pupils suddenly shrank, his teeth clenched and his anger suddenly rose. Good, good. I'll make you pay for it. Go and bury my son with me. Say, roar of a moment bully body attack. Long Qingxie was not nervous. He glanced at others with a touch of strange blood in his eyes. The eyes that touched him were all present, and the disciples felt a sense of foreboding in their hearts. However, the next second, the dragon's evil figure has a strange flash, facing the old helmsman. In the later period of Wuzong, Dragon Qing evil mouth evil spirit a yang, Fundus excited a flash. However, when Long Qingxie was fighting with the helmsman, the disciples on the scene immediately wanted to comply with the orders of the old helmsman just now, withdraw to the rear with other disciples, pack up things and retreat together. But at this time, Shangguan stood in front of the crowd with a smile and said in a soft voice, "Why are you leaving?" "I haven't done it yet." Many disciples looked at each other, and finally one of them gritted his teeth and said, "Up." "He's only one person." "Yes. We worked together to solve him, good." The disciple who was going to retreat nodded his head and put on an attack. But the person who opened his mouth at the beginning rushed to Shangguan ahead of him, and the others followed him. Shangguan looked at the person who was the first to rush over and shook his head. "Tut tut, there are many people who are not afraid of death, but there are more people who are not afraid of death and are still stupid." Although the words say so, but the corner of the mouth raised a touch of bloodthirsty smile. Arc wielding the sword, blood splashed everywhere, dyed the land under your feet red. Since the three people gathered in this place, it has been doomed that this will only be a one-sided massacre. Inside the cave, Cloud Dance looks at those disciples who have been dressed neatly and gathered with their things to leave, and can't help shaking their heads and sighing. I really don't know how the 5-Star Club grew up. The cultivation of these disciples is too bad. However, Yunwu doesn't know that this branch is just the most basic branch of the 5-Star Club. After taking a look at it, Yunwu flashes into the depth of the cave. Library? When the Cloud Dance into the deepest, see the sign of the 3 words, can't help but pick eyebrows. Generally, this place has many good things. How to say, here is also the branch of the 5-Star Club, so there are many good things when you think about it. Cloud Dance will naturally flash in. There is no lock, push the door, and there is no guard. When I went in, I found that it was just a space. There was no dark space. There was nothing precious. This branch of the 5-Star Society is really stingy. Yunwu shrugs when he sees nothing good. The next second, the hands jump out of a few clusters of sparks, respectively, fell on some books. By the way, there is a little wind, which makes the original small fire jump up in an instant, constantly licking the dry book corners and scattering thick smoke. As soon as Yunwu came out, he hid in a place, waiting for those who came to transfer their property to find out what kind of expression they would have when their library was on fire. The disciples of the 5-Star Club didn't disappoint Yunwu this time. Without many meetings, 3 or 4 strong-looking disciples came to carry books. But when they opened the door, they were shocked by the scene. With the heat wave coming, the original clean library has become a sea of fire. And at the same time, several other places also where the fire call for help. Get someone to put out the fire. This is the cultivation method they slowly obtained from other high-level branches after a lot of hard work. Now even if they can't retreat completely, they have to be able to save a little bit. Enjoy enough Cloud Dance, smile, just leave here. Start wantonly in this so big branch in the fire, the following people panic running around carrying water. But the speed of their water transportation is far less than that of the blatant tongue of fire. What's more, there are also cloud dances on one side, which need to be added from time to time. Give up here, all ready to leave. At this time, I do not know where to come out of a man in white, see signs wrong, this fire how to see all too strange point. At last, I'm ready to leave. A little uneasiness in his heart made him subconsciously want to leave here as soon as possible. I'm leaving now. Yunwu suddenly appeared behind the man like a ghost, with the cold dagger on the fragile skin of his neck. The man in white was stiff and his pupils contracted. Who are you? He didn't even notice that someone was approaching, which means that his strength is above him. Cloud Dance mouth slightly yang smile, soft voice Wei, this you don't need to tube, have a good rest. The voice was soft, like a whisper to a lover. Just the next second. Without waiting for the man's reaction, Yunwu's hand had already made an effort and directly cut off the man's neck. Looking at the corner of his clothes dyed red with blood, there was a trace of excitement in Yunwu's eyes. All this just happened in a few seconds, when the man in white was red with blood and fell down. The rest of the people on the scene, as if this just rigid back to God. So the captain was killed. Those disciples who didn't feel much fear at first were staring at Yunwu in horror. They wanted to move their legs away from Yunwu, who was like death. Go, go. At this time, I don't know who yelled. The disciples immediately followed the scattered sand and turned around to escape. However, how could Cloud Dance let these people go so easily? With a sneer in the corner of his mouth, his body flashed, a touch of cold light swept by, blood splashed on the ground, a body has been lying down. As soon as their faces changed, they became more and more frightened. However, at this time, there was a loud noise at the door, which attracted Yunwu's attention. What's going on out there? At this time, the scattered disciples, seeing that Yunwu's attention was diverted, rushed to flee. Cloud Dance is not in a hurry, there are Shengguan and Dragon Qingxia guarding at the door, these people are doomed to go. A moment later. The first person to run to the cave entrance, in the dust filled with a scream, and then no life. Scared the rest of the people behind, immediately did not dare to act rashly, in the cave and behind the clouds around, difficult to advance and retreat. But in a moment, they came out of the dust. They were Dragon Qingxia and Shengguan. It's just that Long Qingxia's evil face doesn't look very good. Even his breath is more cruel than before. After that, there was no need for Shengguan to fight with Yunwu. Long Qingxia was like a meat grinder. A dark shadow passed quickly, and even the cry didn't fall. The figure opened a hole in the middle of those people, and in the twinkling of an eye, it was standing beside Yunwu. Suck. The sound of pouring air spread on both sides. I saw a dead body lying down in the middle. 7 or 8 of them were killed in the blink of an eye. Is this man a human or a ghost? How strange and terrible. The rest of the disciples standing in the corner on both sides, at this time, all of them were frightened and looked at the dragon and Cloud Dance in horror and fear. As if afraid of the next moment, died in the hands of that terrible man. Is he really angry after the strength? Cloud Dances to pick eyebrow, stretch out hand to wipe off the trace of blood on his cheek, soft voice Wei, what's the matter? Did the old man run away? One word hits the mark. Dragon Qing evil mouth a smoke, but still nod. In fact, the little thing that the old man ran away, Long Qingxia would not be angry. He just heard that the old man said one thing, which made him angry so far. Of course, he didn't want to say it, and other people naturally thought that he was angry because the old man ran away. Cloud Dance smile, a rare consolation, lives so many years old guy, must have some backhand, we're so easy to be caught by us, don't think about it. Now, let's get rid of the trivia. At the moment of language falling, Yunwu calls out the ancient sword in his hand and suddenly cuts back. A hapless ghost who wants to sneak attack falls to the ground, and Yunwu always keeps the same smile on his face. Looking at this kind of Cloud Dance, Long Qingxia suddenly feels much better. Without any warning, he asks for a sweet kiss on Cloud Dance's lips before he leaves. Cloud Dance looked at the man, the fundus flashed a helpless, but the corner of the mouth to rise a lot. It's a one-sided killing. Long Qingxia, Shengguan and Yunwu are like a scythe of death, harvesting life constantly. In less than a moment. The people who fled in a hurry or planned to fight against the enemy were all left with blood-red corpses, and the air smelled of blood. And the previous fire was out of control. Long Qingxia looked around, and there was no fish missing the net. Then he turned his head and looked at Yunwu and said, "Let's go." Shangguan and Yunwu clean up the blood, nod, and leave together. This place was originally inaccessible. Now, even if someone passed by and saw the thick smoke from the half-collapsed cave, they probably hid away. Who would have nothing to do with those troubles? After leaving. After all, the smell of blood may not be very good for Long Qingxia, or even pleasant. But Shangguan clean person, really can't bear, Cloud dance also doesn't matter agree. But 3 people went to the inn and threw an ingot of silver at the counter. The shopkeeper, however, seemed to see some monsters and ghosts. As soon as his face changed, he immediately called a young man to take him upstairs. It's very strange that all the people in the upper world have the same strength, but they are so timid. However, perhaps, 3 people at this time, still residual with the thick smell of blood and evil spirit. In the room. You can do it later. I'll go down and order some food. Cloud Dance sat on the chair to a cup of tea, although the strength has been promoted to the middle of Wuzong, almost 3 days do not eat, there will be no problem. But in the end still used to eat something pad stomach. Although Long Qingxia likes blood, he doesn't like his clothes getting dirty. So he takes off his robe and throws it on the ground. When hearing what Yunwu said, the evil spirit turns around and looks at Yunwu vaguely, full of evil, not together. Cloud Dance a stem, nearly spout out the tea in the mouth, fiercely stare at Long Qing evil after one eye, also turn round to descend stairs. Little things, sooner or later swallow you, still shy what? Seeing this, Long Qingxia was very happy and laughed. The shameless laughter came from behind. I wish I could rush in now and teach the shameless guy a lesson if she could beat him. However, his skill is inferior to others, so he has to admit his life. Cloud dances down to the shopkeeper's orders for several kinds of food. When he is ready to turn back, he suddenly hears what is being discussed at the next table. It seems that it is about the Beast Gate and the 5-Star Club. Then he changed his mind and asked for a pot of tea. He sat down at the next table, drinking tea and listening. Ah, have you heard that the 5-Star Club's branch helm has been washed by blood? Except for the branch helm commander who escaped back, none of them will stay. I'll go. Who's so good? What about the only son of the arrogant branch master? You don't know. His son seems to have died outside. He told the outsider the position of the 5-Star Club's rudder. Tut tut, such a son on the branch director's stall is also pitiful. Is there no movement on the other branch directors of the 5-Star Club? It's said that the 5-Star Club has been in close contact with the Beast Gate recently. I'm going to issue a hunting order. It's bad luck for that man. Behind of, Cloud Dance also have no intention in listen to, put down the cup in the hand, turn round to go upstairs, instantly disappear in the person come and go between. The staff mobility of this inn and tea house is very large, and no one has noticed it. And among those who are talking about it, it is even more unexpected that the girl who just sat at the table next to them is the one who will separate the 5-Star Club. The news spread quickly. No sooner had they arrived at the inn than the news spread. Cloud Dance pushes the door and comes in. It happens that Long Qingxia is wearing a profane dress. His strong chest is exposed. His beautiful clavicle and tight abdominal muscles are matched with a face that looks like heaven and man with some evil spirit. This scene is enough for any girl to hold her heart and scream. Yunwu took a look at it, but his face didn't change. He walked to the table and sat down, saying, "The matter of the branch rudder has come." The old man must have returned to the main rudder. So fast. Long Qingxia was a bit surprised. He buttoned up and sat down opposite Yunwu. It seems that there must be some rapid transmission tool between the 5-Star Clubs. Since the 5-Star Club has such a big name in this upper bound, it must be that there are many cards that they have not detected. But even so, it doesn't prevent her from killing all the way to the end. After all, who let her man, but he was targeted by several old men who didn't have long eyes. I ordered some food. I'll take a bath first. I'll call the Shangguan over later. It's hard to feel sticky. Although she is able to use water elements, but since the yin, naturally have to enjoy the taste of hot bath. Yunwoo got up, took the towel on the shelf and was ready to go in. Suddenly he turned back and said, "Don't scare people when you open the door later." Then he turned and went in. Long Qingxie touched his cheek, and his eyes were puzzled. Does he look scary? The bathroom inside. Immerse the body in hot water, Cloud danced with a comfortable sigh. No matter how tired, in hot water is the fastest way to relieve. Cloud dance is enjoying, the dragon outside gets up, seems to be ready to call Shengguan. Inside the room, the cloud dances with eyes closed, but suddenly I feel a familiar breath and suddenly open my eyes. All of a sudden, he jumped out of the water, pulled a big towel and wrapped it on his body. He leaned out of the window sill and squinted at the bottom. Actually, I saw a man in a black cloak in the corner of an alley. Xiao Mu. Is that him? Cloud dance eyes slightly ami, almost at the same time, at the foot of a tiptoe, jumped down from the window. When she jumped in front of Xiao Mu, she did not know when she was wrapped in profane clothes. However, there was no one in the dark alley except Xiao Mu. She doesn't care. The dragon was aware of the evil almost at the same time. When he came to the window, he just saw the scene of the cloud dancing out of the window. There was a trace of helplessness and unhappiness in Long Qingxie's eyes. This little thing is more and more noisy. As a woman, she went out like this in broad daylight? At the moment, he rolled up the outer garment left by the cloud dance, quietly flashed out and landed on the roof, observing what happened to them. Xiao Mu. When you were talking about people, was it the dragon who poured out evil? Cloud dance's wrinkling eyebrow, the eyes are quite cool looking at that strange Xiao Wood. Although they were face to face, she could not feel any breath. Moreover, she seemed to be able to clearly feel that his skin was hard and cold, not like a human body at all. After so long, she couldn't figure out who Xiao Mu was. This question should be very clear in your mind. Why ask more questions? Xiao Mu's voice was as low as ever, but with a smile. Yunwoo is not happy in his heart. It's not a good feeling to be out of control. Who are you? Xiao Mu was silent, and his scarlet eyes were staring at the clouds. The two men were in such a standoff. Until, it seems to be watching Cloud dance a little relaxed, Xiao Mu's body suddenly and fiercely back, ready to escape. Yunwoo was caught off guard and watched him escape again. At this time, a figure quickly fell in the air, directly intercepted Xiao Mu's body, the black breath turned into a blade, directly hit the ground, just in front of Xiao Mu's feet. Xiao Mu was forced to stop. When you come, at least make it clear before you leave. It's really appetizing to say nothing when you come. Long Qingxie looks at Xiao Mu lazily, but his mouth is crooked with a strange sneer. The look was threatening. Xiao Mu was not in a hurry. He just stared at the dragon for a long time. Then he reached out and took out a piece of broken iron from his arms. Dragon roll? When Yunwoo saw what he took out, the tornado in the sea of consciousness sent out a tremor, which was too familiar. That's the reaction of tornado debris. That day, she found the shadow of the cave escape, it was him. After Xiao Mu was on the east-west road, he took back the broken iron. Cloud dance's eyes suddenly fierce, close to Xiao Mu. The shadow that day was you. Who on earth are you? I said, I'm your friend. Xiao Mu suddenly said with a smile. Friends? Cloud dance smells speech can't help but frown. This Xiao Mu is mysterious. Every time we meet, what kind of friends do we talk about? From the beginning to the end, she didn't even know what he was. How could she say that he was a friend? However, if you can get the tornado, your friend will be your friend. He can call it whatever he likes. Well, if you like to call a friend, it's up to you. Since you are a friend, can you give me that thing? Have a look? As long as the thing is in her hand, the incomplete part of the tornado inside, she can inhale into the chaos hall. But Xiao Mu shakes his head. His scarlet eyes stare strangely at the cloud dance half ring, and then he says, "You are not honest." "What?" Cloud dance Aleng. Then, his face could not help sinking. "What do you want?" "I must have something. If you are willing to give it, I will show you a favor. But if you don't give it, you can only be the enemy." The cloud danced and pursed her lips, and suddenly her voice became hoarse. Not to mention the situation in the upper bound at this time, let's say the call map. She has only 6 pieces in her hand now, but because the tornado is incomplete, the whereabouts of other maps recorded in it are not complete at all. How can we find it? So, anyway, the incomplete part of the tornado must be taken. After a long silence, Xiaomu said slowly, "If you want to, come to me at midnight at the broken temple in the west of the suburb. I will explain to you." After that, no matter the cloud dance and the dragon pour out evil spirits, the body shape is strange, a dark shadow passes by, which makes people unable to catch quickly disappear in the crowd on the street. It's so fast. It's embarrassing. It seems that no one can stop him if he wants to go. Cloud dance brow tight Siyu rises, looking at the direction that Xiaowood leaves, can't help but meditate. Until he was put on a long shirt, he just looked up at the dragon. "I've decided to go tonight, so I'll go back and have a good rest now." Long Qingxia, regardless of Yunwu's willingness or not, grabs Yunwu's hand and takes her on the eaves to return to the room from another window. At the same time, the door was knocked. "Here, my guest. Here's your order." Outside the door came the timid voice of little Tu. Yunwu pursed her lips, arranged her clothes, and went to open the door when her face was not very good. Seeing that Yunwu's face didn't look as if he suddenly came out, he shrunk down and let Yunwu take his food box, then the door in front of him was closed. The second child immediately recovered and soon retired. "I'll call the superior to come here." "No, he's here." I saw that as soon as Long Qingxia's words came down, Shengguan really pushed the door and came in. "It's time to eat." It seems that it's just the right time. As soon as Shengguan came in, he consciously sat down, picked up chopsticks and began to eat. After dinner, Cloud Dance looks at Shengguan, the matter of branch rudder has been put through. "What's your plan now?" Shengguan stopped for a moment, as if he didn't know where to go. However, after pondering for a while, he said, "I'm going to find a place to practice, so that father won't do you any harm if he finds me." Yunwu nods. Shengguan also had better not involve too much in this matter. After all, his father is the deputy leader of the beast sect. If there is any dispute, it will be very troublesome to deal with it at that time. As for the dragon, you don't need to ask. Yunwu knows it clearly. This man will never miss the chance to do something with himself. Besides, it was agreed that we would make this upper world turn upside down together. By the way, it's good to take advantage of this time to experience and improve our lower cultivation. Decided to go backwards. Shengguan goes back to his room. Cloud Dance called Small Tu to clean up, gave some silver, told Small Tu to buy some clothes back. They chatted for a while, got the clothes brought back by the second child, and closed their eyes to have a rest. Time passes quickly in practice. When Yunwu opened her eyes again, it was already near the midnight. At the moment, the night is quiet and there is no one outside. After Yunwu and Long Qingxia clean up together, they turn out from the window and rush to the place they told Xiaomu. It was just a piece of kung fu. They saw the broken temple described by Xiaomuku. Flash in, see, inside already standing, still wearing cloaks of Xiao wood. Here you are. It doesn't seem to be unexpected that Dragon Qing Xia will come with him. Xiaomu turns around and takes out the broken iron in his hand. I won't explain the origin of this thing one by one. I believe you know very well that my condition is very simple. I'll take the other 5-star club to the east as a branch. Cloud Dance Leng for a moment. How to solve the problem of the 5-star meeting. This Xiaomu is also related to the 5-star club. Dragon Qingxia comfortable mouth, you and 5 stars will have what deep hatred. Although the five-star club was originally the school he was going to solve, it would be strange to put it in Xiaomu's mouth. Long Qingxie's childhood experience has made him suspicious and cautious. If he wants to do anything, he must have a reason. You don't need to know that. Xiaomu seemed to smile, there's no need to ask more about other things. After it's finished, I'll send the remnant of the dragon scroll with my hands. Yunwu and Long Qingxi look at each other. Finally, they nod and agree. The five-star club is going to be destroyed, and the dragon scroll is going to be obtained. This transaction is not a loss for her. After saying goodbye, Xiaomu watched the two leave. After a long silence, Xiaomu brought the broken iron in his hand to his eyes. A finger was exposed from his hand which had been covered by black robes. Under the light moonlight, it was as bright as a jade. On the way, Yunwu didn't say a word with Long Qing, just thought about it in his heart. Who is Xiaomu? I always feel that something is wrong, but I can't tell. I always feel that many things are not the same as what she sees now. The next day, when they were going to look for the five-star club's branch in the east as Xiaomu said, they suddenly heard something else. Have you heard that the reason why so many people have come here recently is that there is a site in the suburb? It seems that there is a map of the temple in the legend. Moreover, I don't know how many good things there are in it. Yunwu and Long Qingxi, who were going to leave, were attracted by this sentence. Looking at each other, he sat down on one side of the table, secretly, but listening. Both changed faces. Yirong's Yunwu and Long Qingxi are dressed in ordinary clothes. They look like a young couple who can't be more popular. Temple map. This is an absolute temptation for Cloud Dance. So, this time, naturally, we went to the so-called ruins. I heard that people from the five-star club have also gone. 5 stars. Yunwu's eyes narrowed slightly. It seems that it is really a big fate with the five-star club. It seems that there are traces of the five-star club everywhere. After listening for a while, Yunwu and Long Qingxie get up and leave quietly. It is said that the site was opened 3 days later. So naturally, they went back to the guest room. 2 people went back to the room. Cloud Dance suddenly looked back at Long Qingxie, couldn't help laughing. Long Qingxie picks eyebrows. The original action of CSC is very funny on this ordinary and even ugly face. It's even a little more lewd. What are you laughing at? Long Qingxie looked at the woman who was smiling like a flower. He had no choice but to take off the mask and put it away. Cloud Dance see this, nature also conveniently will his face easy to expose down. The mask is as thin as a cicada's wing. But wearing it on the face is always a little bit more, which makes people feel a little uncomfortable. Yunwu managed to stop laughing, with some water vapor in her eyes, raised her lips, looked at the evil man in front of her, and said, "Your face just now it's ugly." Long Qingxie couldn't help laughing. He held the tip of Yunwu's nose, put his forehead against his forehead and said in a low voice, "You little thing, you dare to say that you are ugly. You've got a lot of courage recently." Cloud Dance pats off Long Qingxie's hand and wrinkles his nose, showing his little daughter's charming and simple side. Don't be so manipulative. Long Qingxie's smile deepened in his eyes. He was full of evil spirits and wanted to tease the little thing again. But the Cloud Dance that can understand to him that ruffian disposition, naturally don't wait for him to have an opportunity, dodge a body to stagger. As if he was angry, he glanced at him and said, "It's nothing these 2 days. Do you want to go out for a walk?" Long Qingxie hears the words and ponders for a while. To tell you the truth, whether it's the lower bound or the upper bound, they don't seem to have ever really wandered around with ordinary couples. Although the tacit understanding of fighting and killing all day is gradually improved, it is still less interesting for ordinary people. Now she even spoke, as a man would not refuse. Long Qingxie nodded and agreed. "Well, change your face and go out." As soon as the dragon's evil words were finished, he took out the easy dough and pasted it carefully for Yunwu. Although this face looks ugly, But if you go out with the clouds and get a group of people staring at her with greedy eyes, he would rather her face. It's trouble, Yunwoo murmured. However, he reached out and clapped his hand. Instead, he did it by himself and arranged his own work in a few seconds. After Long Qingxie had been sorted out, he was very conscious and grabbed the start of cloud dance and went out of the door. If you do it before, you don't like cloud dance. But at this time, the cloud dance turns upside down and goes with the flow, conveniently holding the arm of Shanglong Qingxie. This unintentional action is very helpful for the dragon to pour out evil. On the street, there was no hunting and killing in the past. There were only some people and hawkers around. In this way, he suddenly became calm and serene, which made him not used to it, and he felt comfortable in his heart. Especially when he saw Yunwoo holding his arm with one hand and holding sesame cake with the other hand, he suddenly felt a lot softer. When a whole sesame cake is almost finished, Yunwoo suddenly reacts. My behavior at this time is really not in line with her image in the past. When did she become such a cold-blooded killer? Subconsciously, he raised his head, but he just looked at Shanglong with soft eyes. The cloud danced, but then he shifted his eyes. However, the ears are quietly red. When did she become such a little woman? What do you think? The ear root suddenly breathes a moist warm breath. Cloud dance body one hemp, immediately turns round to stare at the dragon to pour evil. Dragon Qing evil but don't approve of a smile, then conveniently picked up next to a small stall gadgets, asked, like it? The cloud dances the line of sight to sweep past, the corner of the mouth draws. It's a little doll-like thing, with a disproportionate body, limbs and head. It's soft and drooping. How do you think it's ugly? It is estimated that this stall has not been visited for a long time. As soon as the vendor saw someone coming to see his things, he became enthusiastic. My guest, I give this to a little girl. It's the most adorable. It's not expensive. 3 won for each. In the hawker's eager eyes, cloud dance helplessly don't go too far. What makes such an ugly thing so attractive to girls? I thought that Long Qingxie would smile and then leave. Unexpectedly, his voice came from his ears, that's it. Long Qingxie threw a few pieces of broken silver into the vendor's arms, took Yunwoo, and forced the ugly thing in Yunwoo's eyes into her hands. In a heavy tone, there was no lack of ridicule. It's easy to put away, it's a favor. A thing of love? Yunwoo takes a look at the ugly puppet in his hand, and then at the grateful peddler. He thinks that this is probably the ugliest one in his hand. But in my heart, is there some joy that is not easy to detect? Although many tutsao, cloud dance or make complaints about this thing, deadpan in the hands. Seeing that Yunwoo took it, the smile at the corner of Long Qingxie's mouth deepened a little, but he didn't mind that smelly face, so he directly came forward and dropped a kiss on Yunwoo's head. This just satisfied, go ahead and have a look. For this kind of man, at any time do not forget to eat tofu behavior. Yunwoo I flash a helpless. However, looking at the street full of people, it is interesting. I hope this young master, don't give her anything ugly and rubbish on the spur of the moment. Fortunately, along the way, in addition to buying some cakes and snacks, and no other. As for the thing of love, it also became a special existence in her hands. 3 days later, we set out. Although these 2 days, 2 people are in, eat, drink and play, on the play. However, it does not mean that they will not do enough kung fu. Yunwoo probably drew a map of the Xian paper in his hand. After he and Long Qingxie studied where the people of the 5-star meeting would appear, he decided the direction to go. This direction, of course, is not to avoid the 5-star meeting, but head on. Now that you want to get the map of the temple and turn the people of the 5-star club upside down, you must face up to the attack. After preparing some things, Yunwoo specially asked someone to drive out a pair of silver needles, but there are still some differences between them and those used in ordinary times. This silver needle is much longer than those used in medical treatment, and it is also a sharp weapon to kill people when necessary. When they are ready, Yunwoo and Longqingxi look at each other and smile, like the first drop of water on the surface of the water. Under the cover of the night, they are hidden in the dark. Suburban areas. Check it out. If there's anything wrong, report it immediately. A group of people dressed as martial arts men are constantly looking for something in a desolate grass. They seem to be very reckless. But careful observation will be able to see that those people have sharp eyes, sharp hands and feet, steady feet, and deep power fluctuations. At first glance, it's the master of martial arts, which can't be compared with ordinary martial arts or hunters. At this time, the two figures were hidden in the dark, looking at the people below. Do you think these are the 5 stars? Cloud Dance slightly sighed head to sea to Longqing evil, low voice mouth asks away. Longqingxie pondered for a moment, and a smile came from the corner of his lips. He said in a soft voice, yes or no, you can tell if you try. Cloud Dance just wanted to ask Longqingxie how to try. Longqingxie already pinched a stone in his hand and shot directly at a person with his back to him. The speed is very fast, but if you are a practitioner, you must be able to block it. As expected, the stone was about to reach the back of the man's head. The person who had not been aware of it suddenly turned back, leaned back slightly to open some distance, and a white light had gathered in his hand to annihilate the stone into powder. Who? A low and shrill cry fell, and the man immediately looked around with vigilance. And the Cloud Dance and dragon fall from the trees, hiding in the grass. What's the matter? In that person suddenly cheers. Other people immediately also tenses vigilance, look straight at just that man. The man frowned, his eyes swept around, and said in a low voice, a stone just came after me, as if someone was there. Someone? Just as the man's language fell behind, other people on the scene immediately swept around. Began to watch warily around, a fist clenched, ready to attack at any time. In the grass. What's the rush? Cloud Dance some don't understand, all saw a Longqingxie, usually Longqingxie is not such a rash person. Dragon Qing evil is a light smile, suddenly mysterious low voice way, because, good play will come soon. Good play. What a good play. However, I didn't wait for Yunwoo to speak. Suddenly, I felt as if there was some vibration on the ground. Soon, as if from far and near came a burst of foot sound, disorderly but boom big, as if there is something, is rapidly approaching in general. Yunwoo couldn't help looking at the sound source. And those who had been alert to the surrounding people, at this time was also the movement to attract attention, immediately toward the movement of the assured look. In the dark, I can't see what's approaching, but it can make people feel nervous one by one. Soon, Cloud Dance will know what the good play in the mouth of Dragon Qingxie is. Until when the movement is bigger and bigger, enough to see clearly, the dust under the dark night is everywhere. While the roaring footsteps are approaching, the huge objects are also presented in front of the public from the dust. Huge black-gray body, like the size of a small hill bag, with horns on the head, fierce and sharp beast eyes, breathing heavily. When he saw a group of unprepared people in front of him, those groups of demons roared up to the sky. Roar. Magic cow. Where did you get it? Cloud Dance looks at the person who is surrounded and attacked by the magic cattle in surprise, with a trace of excitement in his eyes. Although magic cow is only a 4th-order warcraft in the upper world, it has rough skin and thick meat. It is very resistant to fighting and likes to live in groups. Such a group can also cause a lot of trouble. Just sprinkled some spices on the way here. The dragon's evil lips are easy to talk about. Easy? This man is really easy. Cloud Dance looking at the man around, can't help but deepen the corner of the mouth rising radiant. Now those people have reacted, they have taken their own weapons, adjusted their state and began to resist. And magic cow's body is hard, where is so easy to solve. In addition, at the beginning of the first to seize the opportunity, between the moment is not embarrassed. Well, I can play Yunwoo nodded, which saved them from the trouble of doing things by themselves, so as not to waste unnecessary mental energy before entering the so-called ruins. Only then, the situation has changed. The original purpose of Yunwu and Longqingxi was to teach the 5-star club a lesson while getting the map. At this time, because of the previous spice stimulation and manic Manao, suddenly and slowly calmed down. What's going on? Is it difficult to are there people from the Beast Gate around here? Yunwu turns to see the dragon. But I found that Dragon Qing Xia was also thinking. What's the matter? Yunwu looks back with complicated eyes. If it's a man of the Beast Gate, how can he not feel the breath? Isn't she strong enough? Or see, that magic cow slowly calmed down, inexplicably toward a certain direction after a look, suddenly feel like something, instantly turned and quickly left. And the 5-star meeting of people see this, after peeping at each other, the fundus raised vigilant doubts. What's going on? Are these magic cows afraid of them? Or who's around them? All of a sudden, the people of the 5-star club had a tacit understanding, and all of a sudden they looked around. The grass rustled as people walked. Long Qingxia and Cloud Dance, quietly sliding back more than 10 steps, and then jumped onto a big tree, hiding their bodies between the shrubs and branches. At this time, Long Qingxia suddenly said in a low voice, "I'll go around to see if there are people from the Beast Gate." Cloud Dance nods, can't help but ask, "Be careful." The lips of Dragon Qing Xia evoke a radiant of evil spirit, "Don't worry. Language fall of block, he will leave." Cloud Dance is to stick the body on the tree trunk and continue to observe the people below. I saw the 5-star meeting people patrol 2 circles back and forth, and did not find the clouds hidden in the tree. But still not at ease, gathered together to look around, there is little wind and grass, the power of the elements in the hands, it will explode in a scorched black. The people of the 5-star meeting were very cautious. Were they afraid of the bloody division that day? Yunwu chuckled in his heart and twisted his body slightly. As his toes jumped up on the tree trunk, he threw a dart in his hand. The dart of Cloud Dance suddenly let one of them hurt his arm. But at the same time, the place where Yunwu used to be was in ruins. Black smoke mixed with the smell of scorch, churning in the air. Looking at the 5-star meeting, people are just like frightened birds, dancing in the clouds, almost laughing. It's not right to expose yourself rashly at this time, but it's a bit more interesting to attack occasionally. When Long Qingxia checked the surrounding area, he didn't find the people of the Beast Gate coming back. Cloud Dance has hurt the people of the 5-star meeting. The air is full of bloody smell. The roar of Warcraft not far away must be attracted by the bloody smell. Pay attention to guard, never let the enemy exploit the loophole, there are Warcraft to come to raid. The leader finally gave up looking for the attacker. The grass around had been blown up. But they still can't catch the ghost-like shadow. Now they are exhausted. If Warcraft comes here, there will be no means to expel them for the second time. I'm afraid it's going to be bad. After hearing the leader's command, the rest of the people were more alert. They showed their weapons and set up a strange formation to guard the coming herd. The people of the 5-star club are not so stupid. Cloud Dance looked at the bottom only feel funny, Dragon Qing evil smile, low voice way, silly people are just individual. At this time, the fool in their mouth is naturally the one who died in their hands because of recklessness, and who is quite obscure. I don't know if those people will jump out in anger if they have knowledge under the spring. Now. There was a big bang, coming from a distance. Cloud Dance see this movement, not by a pick eyebrow. What's the matter? It's like, the tide of animals. I saw the scene of thousands of animals attacking the city at the beginning, but the tide of animals tonight is not very big, but for those below, it's absolutely a big scene. Yes, I guess you'll like it. Dragon Qing evil hook lips evil spirit a smile of say. In fact, when Long Qingxia was just on the road, he added some materials. Even if there are people in the Beast Gate nearby, he wants to see how long these people can resist the hundreds of Warcraft troops. A wave of animals is coming soon. The dust is flying, and the cool animals' eyes twinkle under the night. Ouch! The leader is a 6-step sand wolf, whose body is as high as one person. The whole body is snow white, but the blue beast eye is blind, and the ferocious scar is very prominent on the left face. Wolf is a kind of warcraft that has an extraordinary pursuit of blood. At this time, I smell so much blood, and I see the wounds on a group of people in front of me. All of a sudden greedy roar, mouth is almost about to drool. Roar. For a moment, a group of demon wolves behind him whispered, and the howling sound of the wolf became one, which also sounded a bit creepy. Come on. Kill these animals. The leader seems to be irritated by the disdain and salivation in the wolf's eyes. He clenched his long knife and gritted his teeth. The rest of the people have been impatient, but just a group of 5 or 6 level warcraft, they really don't pay much attention to it. One man and one wolf fight together quickly, and there are people's screams or wolf's howls. Yunwu shook his head and sighed with regret, I'm wrong. These people just don't have brains. Now the back still don't know how many warcraft is looking for the bloody smell to come. If they were not lucky, they just attracted these sand wolves. If a group of warcraft troops came together, they would be able to trample these people into meat mud. Long Qingxie chuckled and said, even if they don't do anything, the warcraft army will come sooner or later. He just specially provoked a lot of manic warcraft. If he didn't come, how could he be worthy of his good intentions? Cloud Dance heard, naturally understand the meaning of his words, but smile. This man really makes people feel terrible. But she likes it. Yunwu adjusted a comfortable posture, just sat down, holding his chin and looking at the people fighting under him. Sand Wolf has evolved into a 6th level warcraft, and even the lowest is the 4th level peak. The force of elements collides with the weapons in the hands of the 5-star club. There's a lot of noise and killing. The 5 stars may not have thought that the comprehensive strength of these sand wolves is better. After a while, just still proud of the state of mind, suddenly disappeared in the shadow. For a moment, there was some weakness in Perry. With the howl of Sand Wolf, Yunwu could occasionally hear the low voice curse of the 5-star club. A bunch of idiots. Cloud Dance shakes his head, suddenly lost the interest of looking down. Not far away is dust everywhere, it seems that there are many warcraft came. Then he stood up and patted the dust on his body and said, your warcraft army is coming. Let's go too, so as not to be affected. Long Qingxie took a look not far away. It was really a piece of dust, with the smell of brutality. Then he stood up and put his hand over the slender waist of Yunwu. The figure of the 2 people quickly left the tree. As for the 5-star club people who had already been struggling, their faces suddenly changed when they saw that a large group of warcraft troops were absolutely enough to crush them. Almost no instant scared piss off, hasty hands and feet and want to escape. But the next second, people who want to escape are torn in half by the fierce warcraft's claws, or torn by something's sharp teeth. In a flash, the hunter becomes the prey. When one of them was caught by a big hand, he wriggled to escape, but still could not escape the fate of being torn. Just before that, he finally seemed to give up stop struggling, crush a piece of rune paper in his hand, and watch the yellow rune paper burn out. Only then convulsed had not lived, only the eye did not close, was full of blood, was full of unwilling. The night passes, the day rises. Where on earth is the sight? After searching all night and finding a big circle, Yunwu was a little anxious. Long Qingxie shakes his head, looks at the dust on the ground, and suddenly opens his mouth. If not on the ground, it might be underground. Underground? It should not be possible. Cloud Dance frowned and thought, if it's underground, how can everyone know the news? Dragon Qing evil spirit smile, but no longer words. Cloud Dance is a little tender. It is precisely because it is difficult to find, so it will let more people know. There are so many people, maybe one with good luck can find it. For the 5-star club, as long as one of them is found, they will be able to rush on. Since I can't find it, I'd better sit down and have a rest. I've been tossing about for a whole morning, and I've been exploring the road the night before. Cloud Dance at this time has some fatigue, also found a place to rest. This is a natural cave. After the inspection, Yunwoo found that there was no sign of anyone coming, so she felt relieved. She found a clean place to sit down and rubbed her sore arm. Dragon Qingxie saw that Yunwoo didn't want to move, so he shook his head and reached for a piece of withered grass on Yunwoo's head. You take a break, I'll go and look around. Cloud Dance nods, looks at the dragon to pour evil to leave, stretch a waist. When he was about to have a rest for a while, he suddenly heard the voice of Hyo. There is something in the cave. Something. The cloud dances to pick eyebrows and quickly scans the cave. This small cave will probably be able to go to the end in 4 or 5 steps. If it can hide something, it's too reluctant. However, Cloud Dance is still asking at the moment. What's there? Behind the wall. Black AO is silent for a while, drop short 4 words, let with Cloud Dance again how to ask all silent. Behind the wall. Cloud Dance swept an eye, also helpless have to get up, row a circle in the cave. But I didn't find any difference. After thinking about it, I would never lie with my black and proud nature. Cloud Dance can't help but take a more careful look around. It really makes Cloud Dance find some abnormal places. The stone wall in the depth of the cave, though also curved, has some potholes like others. But if you look at it carefully, you can see the marks on it. It seems that they are slightly different from others. To say, the corners are more rounded. Yunwoo reaches out his hand and attaches his arm to it. The rough texture comes from the palm. But at the same time, there is a strange feeling, like soft, seems to have a strong taste, let Cloud Dance don't know how to describe. It was quiet. Yunwoo closed her eyes and felt it carefully, and the senses on her hand were expanded many times, which finally made Yunwoo find the difference. Open your eyes, eyes across a certain, really different. Cloud Dance went the hand into force, without hesitation toward the stone wall above. Bang! There was a loud noise. The strong wind and palm force hit the stone wall, which produced a layer of pale gold translucent barrier, and forced her to step back. Shaking off the hand, Cloud Dance was surprised. What on earth is this? She was able to bounce her strength back. The other side of the same time. Woo-woo. Dragon Qingxie, who is patrolling around, suddenly hears a weak voice, like the cry of a small animal. Cubs. Dragon Qing evil dynasty voice spread to sweep one eye, in that pair of sharp eyes flash a touch of undercurrent. But already a step away. Push aside the grass, I saw that under the grass, lying a black eggshell. The eggs inside the eggshell have hatched, and they look like they haven't been long. There's mucus hanging on the edge, and there's a smell in the air. And the hatchlings have disappeared. Dragon Qing evil pick eyebrows, black eggs but very rare. But now that they've all come, it's better to see what kind of cub it is. Maybe you can bring it to the little woman. By the way, looking left and right, I saw a transparent filament pulled to the side, which seemed to be the same kind of mucus as eggshell. Reach out to the grass nearby. Touch the line of sight, is a small flesh-like golden things, chubby. The dragon tilts evil to pick eyebrow, stretch out a hand to hold, directly lift it up. Ouch! The fleshy little thing suddenly struggled for a while, which made Dragon Qingxie see clearly its original appearance. In front of it seems to be a kind of warcraft, but it's something that dragon has never seen before. It looks like a dragon, but its body is round and rolling with dust and grass. But she was beautiful and golden. What are you, little fellow? When he saw that the strange cub in his hand had a pair of big red eyes, he raised his eyebrows and suddenly had some interest. This kind of pure black eggshell is rare, and the golden warcraft is even less. Apart from the golden dragon that may have risen, up to now, Dragon Qingxie has never seen any information about this little thing in any records. Ouch, ouch. The little beast that Long Qingxie was holding in his hand seemed to be able to hear the words of Bai Long Qingxie. He didn't like the name of little guy in his mouth. He was very angry and showed his sharp teeth in anger. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be a threat. What's more, it's still being pinched by Dragon Qingxie and hanging upside down. Dragon Qing Evil see this, that Rei's evil spirit corner of mouth deepened a few minutes. That's interesting. Looking at the interesting reaction of this little thing, Long Qingxie hooked his lips. This little guy, Yunwu might be interested in it. Just for this reason, Long Qingxie just pinched its tail, lifted himself up to the tree, and quickly rushed to the cave that they had found before with the strength of trampling. However, what Long Qingxie didn't know was that there was a lot of noise in the forest near his location. Hurry up, look carefully, we must find the Qi Jin young dragon, otherwise we can't enter the site, we'll be finished this time. Yes, the uniform sound broke the silence in the jungle. With a group of people's wanton search, many animals and birds, or low-level warcraft were scared away. If Yunwu and Long Qingxi can come here to see these people at this time, they will recognize that the 5-Star Club is not the only one who came to look for the ruins and wanted to get the map of the temple. This is probably the scene where birds scatter among animals. In a group of people's joint search, there will soon be a new discovery. Not many meetings, there was a person shouting, "Come on, there's something here." The leader went there immediately. What the man said was a pure black eggshell on the ground. It looked like it had just hatched. The mucus was still fresh. I'm sure I can't go far. Let's look for them separately. With an order, the people who had just come to watch immediately began a new round of search. The leader, on the other hand, looks at the fragments of the eggshell and is lost in thought. When Long Qingxie arrived at the cave, Yunwu was exhausted by the strange pale golden light on the wall. But Yunwu is more frustrated and more courageous. After trying all kinds of methods, it still failed. On the contrary, Yunwu was patient and thought carefully about what went wrong. If this thing is so strong, the strength she just output is definitely enough to collapse this mountain many times. But the ordinary stone wall in front of me still has no response. Even if you know the problem, it must be out of that golden layer, but Yunwu couldn't find any way to deal with it. Because it's so weird. She has used all the methods, whether it's elemental power or dead fire. Even Gu Wu De Dao, who has always been invincible, has nothing to do with it. So as soon as Dragon Qingxi came in, he saw Cloud Dance gnashing his teeth. He couldn't help but feel funny. What's the matter? Evil magnetism asked. Yunwu's attention was focused on the stone wall. He didn't notice the dragon's evil coming in. He was startled by the sudden sound. As soon as I looked back, I found that it was the dragon who had fallen in love with the evil. Then I calmed down, and there was a trace of helplessness in my eyes. This stone wall is a little strange, you have a look. Hear Cloud Dance say so. Long Qing Evil pick eyebrow to come forward. Learn Cloud Dance just like that, attach your hand to it and feel it. Except for a trace of strange element fluctuation, you don't notice other strange places. Now I can't help frowning. At this time, Cloud Dance explained in a deep voice, there is a layer of energy cover on it, I can't break it. This time, the dragon was really curious. What could Cloud Dance be? At the moment, the power of condensing elements in the hand blows upward. However, just as Yunwu had met before, a layer of pale golden halo burst out from it, which immediately stopped all the elemental power of Dragon's evil spirit. And after 2 flashes of golden light, the former calm was restored again. It's really weird. Long Qingxie picks eyebrows. He's sure of the strength of his fist. It's absolutely enough to break any stone wall. But that layer of golden light, so light to dissolve all his strength? See, the attack of Dragon Qing Evil is also so. Cloud Dance can't help but brow ring up. For the first time in such a long time. Even the dragon can't help it. What's in it? I've just tried a lot of methods, but I can't break them at all. I don't know what the hell is inside. I made such a strange golden light to protect it. Long Qingxie touched his chin and stared at the stone wall for a while. It seems that he is also thinking about what the golden light above is. Ouch! When the dragon poured evil, the little cub in the waistband was finally unable to bear it. After an impatient cry. Gaga. He stretched out his claws and began to scratch the cloth, which caused the two people's attention. What is it? Cloud Dance, curious to see the past, found that the things in the bag, still struggling, seems to be eager to run out of the general. Long Qingxie then remembered the little guy he had just picked up from outside. Take off the bag, and Long Qingxie directly brings out the struggling and noisy little guy in it and hands it to Yunwu. I picked it up at random on the road. I thought you would like it, so I brought it back for you. Long Qingxie explained casually, and then continued to observe the stone wall. You picked it up. Yunwu looks at the little beast in her arms and can't help but pick her eyebrows. However, when you see its dragon-like appearance, you can't help but be attracted attention. Dragon is not a long body. But the little thing in her arms is like a chubby meatball, and the faucet is meatball body, especially cute and weird. What is this little thing? It's interesting. Where did you pick it up? Cloud Dance stretched out fingertips to poke the tip of the little guy's nose and asked. I don't know exactly what it is. Anyway, it looks very spiritual and I brought it back. The little cub poked by Yunwu's little nose seemed to be dissatisfied. The young paw scratched twice in Yunwu's palm and brought up a piece of itching. Cloud Dance, just depressed mood, seems to be better. I took a handkerchief and wiped it carefully. I was surprised to find that it was more and more golden, but it almost didn't shine. It seems that this is no ordinary little warcraft, is it? Where did you pick it up? The tornado didn't move all the time. Obviously, there was no record about this little guy. In other words, the tornado was still incomplete and the information was incomplete. It's in the grass, not far away. Long Qingxie glanced at the little beast in Yunwu's hand and said, as for what it is, I don't know. Anyway, it has been captured. It will be yours in the future. The little beast in Yunwu's hand seemed to understand the words of Long Qingxie, and was trampled in a minefield. He barked twice as if he wanted to demonstrate. However, his little meatball body was too young. After half a day's hard work, he just thought it was cute and could not match the ferocity. The little guy seems to have noticed this too. He grunts twice and then stops moving. He nests in the palm of Cloud Dance and continues to pretend to be dead. It's interesting to see Cloud Dance. This little guy was born with wisdom. It seems to be a really advanced species. After that, Long Qingxie and Yunwu did not discuss the cub, but focused on the stone wall. I'll try again. Long Qingxie said in a low voice. Boom! Another punch hit the stone wall, just like before. Dragon Qingxie is more powerful than Cloud Dance. It still has no reaction when it hits it. The only difference is that, compared with the previous two reserved explorations, the dragon's attack seemed to make the glitter of the golden light more dazzling. It still can't be broken. There's nothing to do. When Long Qingxie looks back, he happens to see the little thing with a crooked head. I don't know if he's wrong. He sees a trace of contempt in his eyes. But Yunwu didn't notice, except for the little guy in his hand. At this time, Yunwu wanted to know what the golden light was. Even the dragon had no choice. Looking at Yunwu's inquiring eyes, Long Qingxie shakes his head. He doesn't know what it is. If he knew, he would not be so helpless. Generally speaking, the boundary of protection like this should have a bearing limit. If it is said that the strength of the two of them is despised by the border, then how powerful is the strength of the people who created the border? Even the dragon can't help but feel depressed, but if you can't fight hard, you have to think of other ways. He stretched out his hand and pulled the sleeve of Dragon Qingxie, saying, have a rest for a while, and think about it later. Now no one has found the location of the site, but Long Qingxie is not in a hurry to find out the power of this thing, so he listens to Yunwu and sits down for a moment. You say, what are these things? Cloud Dance slants ahead, saw an eye dragon to pour evil to ask a. As for, she asked, is it the little golden warcraft that is sleeping in her palm now, or the strange halo on the stone wall? It's not clear. But the dragon shook his head. Because now, whether it's the cub in her arms or the golden light, he has no bottom in his heart. This is also the first time in my life, the psychology is so bottomless. See Dragon Ching Evil so decisive shake head, Cloud Dance also had to give up. After that, they sat down and closed their eyes for a while. At this time, the search outside continued, but the two tired people in the cave didn't notice it. Report, there's no report here. Not here either. Here, too. Listening to one report after another, the leader's eyebrows gradually wrinkled. There's no one here, there's no one there. This kind of cub who just made a sound for a short time should not go far. Why not? What's more, there was no sign of wild animals around here, which ruled out the possibility of being eaten by other warcraft. He couldn't help wondering whether he was taken away by someone else in advance. Then he denied the possibility. This place did not come, and no one could know its existence. It's just, where did it go? In short, in the constant tangle, the leader finally gave up the matter of finding the answer. Instead, they are prepared to send a message to headquarters for assistance. At this time, in a mysterious place, within the sect of the Beast Gate, two elder-like people are frowning at the transmission image in front of them, until the figure is torn apart by a huge demon ape, it turns into pieces and disappears in front of them. One of them was silent for a while, and said, "Look at that man," but he was sent out to look for the map. The other nodded, with the same serious expression, and said in a low voice, "Yes, no matter who is doing it, we have lost so many of us this time. We must find out the person who dares to do the right thing with us, and break him into pieces." In such a large conference room, only these two people are talking in a low voice. The sound is sent out and collides with the stone wall, and then the shallow sound pops up again, which is even more lonely. At this time, the Cloud Dance and Dragon Poor Evil have already opened their eyes from breathing. The eyes are startled, staring at the little golden beast in front of us together, and the look on his face is not clear. Just are they right? This little guy just went to the other side of the stone wall and swallowed up a big piece of the sudden flash of gold light? Yes. Just now, when they were adjusting their breath, they suddenly felt strange. As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw the little cub in Yunwu's arms, crawling its fleshy body, directly to the wall, and opened his mouth to gnaw a large piece of the golden light on it. What is this? What's that? Naturally, the little beast had no way to answer them. It seemed that he had just had enough to eat. He said, "Belch." Then, he walked leisurely to the arms of Cloud Dance. Small body curled up again, forming a small meatball-like, not for a while began to snore. Compared with the two people in front of him who were a little stunned, he didn't know how comfortable he was now. Seeing this, Long Qingxia is ready to reach out and pull up the meatball, to see what it is. But Yunwu made a look at him and stopped him. Although she also wanted to find out immediately what warcraft it was. But impatient cannot eat hot tofu, and so it woke up to say. It's better for them not to act rashly before they have a thorough understanding of the situation. What's more, their bodies always feel tired, as if they have consumed a lot of physical strength. Seeing this, the dragon could only wait patiently. From noon to dusk. Long Qingxia's eyebrows were more and more twisted, and he was a little impatient. Fortunately, at this time, the little beast in Yunwu's arms suddenly kicked and woke up. "Oh, Wu." Yawn, expose the milky white sharp teeth in the mouth, some people seep. But when I put away the tooth, it was a very cute look, enough to let any girl's maternal love overflow. But Cloud Dance is not among them. He stretched out his hand and pinched the soft meat of the little guy. He mentioned the place parallel to his vision. After looking at him for a while, Yunwu asked, "Little guy, what are you?" The cub froze for a moment. But still let Cloud Dance sensitive capture, staring at her red eyes. Little cub from the beginning of the ignorant eyes, and then Cloud Dance more fierce under the pressure, finally timid shift of sight, mouth issued 2 sobs, seems to be begging general, Cloud Dance not moved. "What are you?" Ouch, you are the thing. Your whole family. However, the little beast can only roar in his heart, but he can't say anything in front of him. And the tender voice of its export is not Cloud Dance or Dragon Ching evil can understand. Looking at the two people's invariable gaze, the small beast's frustrated drooping head and wagging tail broke away from Yunwu and landed on the ground steadily. Cloud Dance heart surprised, she just but has been this little guy firmly grasp, how to break free so. It's just that a more surprising scene happened. I saw the little beast with short legs, stagger to the front of the stone wall. Just like when Yunwu and Longqingxi attacked earlier, the golden halo on the stone wall was more dazzling than any one they had made before. Then, under the gaze of Yunwu and Longqingxi, the cub opened his mouth and tore off the golden light that they could not shake in any way. Click, click. The sound of chewing. I saw that it chewed in the mouth for a while and then swallowed it directly. Yunwu and Longqingxi look at each other and see a look of surprise in each other's eyes. Then, as if addicted to food, the cub put out its bright red tongue and licked around its mouth. Then continued to tear, chew. It's not so big, it's round. And the golden light has been eaten by a little half. The little cub is funny, so with his big belly, he walks to Yunwu, shrinks, falls to the ground and goes to sleep. Yunwu pursed her lips and looked at her in surprise. The cub in front of her was much bigger than before, and the soft scales on her body had a shape. If you look carefully, you can see some fine lines on it. This, I'll try. Long Qingxie stares at the little beast for a while, and then says something light. Then, he got up and went to the wall where the golden light had been eaten, and gradually gathered the strength of elements in his hands. Long Qingxie seems to be more serious this time than before. His face is rarely serious and his lips are tight. On the ground, some fine sand and stones scattered because of the cloud dance and the dragon's previous attack on the wall all flutter and float when the dragon's evil elements gather. The slow rotation with the dragon as the center seems to be really used by the dragon. Cloud Dance pursed her lips and looked down at the little beast sleeping on the ground. She reached out and picked it up, put it in her arms and stood up and stepped back 2 steps. The air around seemed to thicken up. And the momentum of Long Qingxie's body has become more and more powerful. People can't look straight at him, and his eyes are slightly red. Suddenly, with a low roar, his hand changed from claw to fist. He went directly through the area just gnawed by the cub, successfully crossed the golden light barrier and hit the stone wall. Boom! For a moment, with a loud noise, the earth was shaking and the rocks fell one after another. Cloud Dance retreated a step, just managed to stabilize the body, looking at the place where the dust filled, the dragon's evil body was covered up. Cloud Dance is not anxious, waiting quietly. Until the dust fell, I saw that in front of the dragon, there was a broken stone wall, which was blocked by something. It's just dark. I can't see anything clearly. But Dragon Qingxie didn't do anything, just stood there. Cloud Dance Leng for a while, suddenly have a kind of uneasy feeling rising from the heart, quickly walk 2 steps forward, stretch out a hand to hold the sleeve of Long Qingxie. Long Qingxie. However, her cry had just come down. The upright dragon, who had just stood, suddenly fell down. Yunwu's face changed almost instantly, and he quickly reached out to catch him. Long Qingxie. Call sound, involuntarily infected with panic. She had not seen Long Qingxie injured or had any accident for a long time. She suddenly fell down without warning. Cloud Dance has always been used to being calm, but at this time, it feels at a loss. I don't know what to do. The cub's body rolled on the ground twice and was awakened with a faint murmur. Cloud Dance at this time is no time to meddle in its business. Long Qingxie, who fell in Yunwu's arms, closed his eyes, frowned slightly, and his face turned white. Long Qingxie. The dragon pours evil Cloud Dance can't help but call twice again, clap Dragon Qingxie's cheek. But the dragon still didn't respond. It seemed that he fell into some kind of deep sleep now. Cloud Dance is really beginning to panic. Damn it! In the heart curse A, Cloud Dance also don't care to see that a dark exactly is what thing, painstakingly will dragon poor evil move to another corner, deep breath force oneself to calm down. Put your fingers on the wrist of Dragon Qingxie and feel the pulse like a bead of water. No difference in stability. Obviously, it's just a steady pulse when you're asleep. It's nothing different. What the hell is going on? If it's no different, how can he suddenly faint and fall? Is it that I just used too much strength to sleep? In any case, the original panic, after probing his pulse and no situation, just slightly relieved. She would rather believe that he was exhausted and went to sleep. From the pulse, he only needs to rest for a while to wake up. By this time, the cub had crawled to her feet. Cloud Dance can't help but have some helplessness. How long has it been since she met this little cub? At this time is already so sticky to her. Is it because she's a summoner? Whether it is or not, this little cub has just been able to devour the golden light that I don't know what it is, which means that it is not a small role. It was brought by dragon's evil spirits, which is very clever. With this thought, Yunwu's eyes softened a lot. He reached out and held the cub in his arms. He sat beside Long Qingxie and waited for him to wake up. It's just that everything is not as smooth as Yunwu imagined. Because after spending a night in silence, when Yunwu wakes up in the morning light of the next day, Long Qingxie is still the same as before, with his eyes closed. Cloud Dance calms the panic in the heart and reaches out his hand to feel the pulse of the dragon again. But found that, as before, the pulse is stable, there is no difference, but, on the contrary, some weak. However, there is still no sign of waking up. What's going on? Yunwu felt restless in his heart. He bit his lip and kept silent for a while. He took out the needle bag from his luggage. After choosing the smallest one, he chose a acupoint on Long Qingxie's leg that was more irritating to the human body and ground it down. Nothing. There was no movement at all. If it wasn't for the steady pulse of Dragon Qingxie, Cloud Dance would have thought that Dragon Qingxie was already a corpse at this time. Originally forced to resist the panic, and finally set off again. But at this time, Cloud Dance suddenly looked up, cold eyes suddenly looked to the dark cave. The reason why Long Qingxie sleeps like this is that he broke the wall. Is there anything in it? Stand up. The cub stayed in the arms of Yunwu, looked up at Yunwu and the dragon on the ground, then sobbed, and his bright red eyes fixed on the dark hole. When Yunwu was about to walk into the cave, he had another meal at his feet. If he went in rashly now, he didn't know what would happen. Secondly, he didn't know whether it would be safe for the dragon to fall evil here. After thinking for a moment, Yunwu decides to wait for a while. If Long Qingxie suddenly wakes up, in the hand unconsciously grasps own clothing corner, the soft cloth is stirred by the Cloud Dance unconscious to make is full of the wrinkle. At this time, a few sounds came from outside the cave. Cloud Dance turned his head, eyes deep cold staring at the cave, want to see clearly who is coming, but this is just so too, there is no sound. Cloud Dance frowns, carefully step forward, in the whole side looking out. I saw two people with their backs to themselves, looking at what they were discussing in a low voice. The two voices were too low, even Cloud Dance could not hear what they were talking about. Originally, as long as they didn't disturb her, Yunwu didn't care much. However, when the line of sight touched their clothes, the cold light at the bottom of their eyes was suddenly gloomy. 5-Star Club. With a fierce look in his eyes, Yunwu quietly held the ancient martial arts sword in his hand. In order to avoid causing other accidents, on the cloud dancing sword of ancient martial arts, the dead fire was whirling around, hiding the murderous chi on the body, and approaching the two unsuspecting figures. Blade a Lin, Cloud Dance almost no cover-up, heart that from panic and into the rage, ferocious straight attack cut. The two men suddenly felt the danger, and one of them suddenly jumped up and dodged. However, the other one was not so lucky. He was cut into two parts by the sharp Guwu sword. After a whine, he kept twitching on the ground. Everything came as a surprise. It's you." The rest of the man, when he saw Yunwoo's angry purple eyes, quickly recognized Yunwoo's identity. Purple pupil eyes, holding a knife, is absolutely the symbol of Cloud Dance identity. In addition to the evil minority leader, Yunwoo is probably the most famous person in the 5-star club. "What if it's me?" Cloud Dance sneers, body slightly forward, quickly forward, Gu-woo big knife across the sky. The man's body was crooked, but his arm was still broken. At last, he could not help but panic. Was she stronger than him? A little girl in the human world, when she comes to the upper world, her strength has surpassed him? What's the definition of this? It's impossible for that man not to know. The man covered his arm, which spilled blood quickly. Under the panic, a trace of determination suddenly appeared on his face. "You want to kill me? Don't you want to know where the ruins are?" This condition for the Cloud Dance at this time, but there is no temptation, sneer, said, "Do not want to know." What words, save to say to Yama. Having said that, the other hand brushed one by one, forming an element wind blade and attacking directly. Just in the blink of an eye, it was in front of the man. Seeing that blood was about to splash on the spot, the man suddenly crushed a jade. At that moment, a light green barrier came out and blocked the wind blade. But it's just a matter of reluctance. The man was forced back 2 steps by the stamina, with a mouthful of blood, and almost fell off the cliff behind him. Cloud Dance pursed lips, "The heart more feel cold, hand a brush, is a water arrow to stab." There was a trace of fierce in the man's eyes. He stepped back 2 steps. In his hand, he gathered a group of white light. He directly met the water arrow of the Cloud Dance and barely stopped it. Before the next wave of Cloud Dance attacks, take out a pill from your arms, crush it and put it into your mouth. Medication? Cloud Dance looks at that man to swallow pill unexpectedly, can't help a frown. Don't dare to procrastinate, the fire of death on Gu-woo's sword rises immediately. With the approaching of Yunwoo to the man, the burning is more and more enthusiastic, and a knife goes across the air, aiming at the most vulnerable neck of the other party. But in that second. But the man's figure suddenly soared, and his momentum seemed to be suddenly blessed. He turned up several levels. In Yunwoo's heart, there is a secret saying that it's not good, but the knife can't be taken back. Drink. I saw that the middle of the population murmured, and his hands directly grasped the ferocious ancient sword, but he didn't care that his hands were burned by the fire. A force, will Cloud Dance shock back 2 steps. Yunwoo's face is slightly heavy. What kind of pill is that? As soon as I swallowed it, I was able to suddenly increase my strength by such a large margin. Damn it. If it is widely used in the future, it will be more difficult for her and Long Qingxie to completely destroy the 5-star club. However, the pills that can suddenly and forcefully enhance so many levels of strength will have sequelae after the efficacy. I just don't know if the upper boundary pills will have sequelae. Could not think as 2 peas. Slightly blue, momentum is also stronger than the Cloud Dance. Brush. A strong breath came. In the blink of an eye, Yunwoo could hardly react, so he had to bite his teeth and lift the knife to resist. Boom. There was a loud noise, and the dust filled the air. But when the dust disappeared and saw that it was just the Cloud Dance that was forced back and didn't get much hurt, the man's face finally changed. The strength even turns to promote so many, unexpectedly also didn't hurt her. How is that possible? However, at this time, the man's face was more and more ugly. It's time to take the pills. Although the pill can instantly enhance several times the strength, but the biggest drawback is that the time is too short. At this time, the strength of the man's body quickly withered down. Almost subconsciously, the man was not entangled with Yunwoo. He turned around and planned to leave as soon as possible to inform the helmsman. I want to go now. A cold voice suddenly brushed behind his ears. At the same time, there was a little coolness on his neck. The blade of the knife was in contact with the artery of his neck. Just a little effort, you can kill him. This is the first time that he clearly felt that death was so close to him that it was like a poisonous snake wrapped around his neck, which would show sharp fangs and bite off at any time. You can't kill me, I'm a member of the 5-Star Club. If you're not a member of the 5-Star Club, I don't care to kill you. Even if you said it, I'll give you a ride. As soon as the cold voice fell, the cloud danced, and the corners of his mouth were bloodthirsty and cold. Without any hesitation, his hand moved, and his blood vessels broke. The man's eyes were wide open, and his fear was still flashing. However, it was too late. His only mistake is that when he knows her identity, he should not provoke her at last. The man twitched and fell. Cloud Dance cold glanced at the body on the ground. After putting away the ancient martial arts sword, one hand brushed, a group of fire flickered, the fire element burned the two bodies, leaving only the residue. In fact, although she didn't show it, she still suffered some injuries. If you look carefully, you can see that Yunwoo's steps are not stable at this time. Behind him, there is a bloodstain winding all the way to the cave. Long Qingxie still didn't wake up. Ouch! The cub, who had been placed next to Long Qingxie, smelled the smell of blood in the air and ran to Yunwoo with 4 short fat legs. Yunwoo took a look at it and took off the clothes of his left arm, revealing his white shoulder. I saw a wound on her shoulder, deep into the bone. The flesh turned out, like endless blood has been pouring out. Just for a while, his arm was full of blood, and his face became pale because of excessive blood loss. Yunwoo instantly points several acupoints to stop bleeding. Then he took out the powder from his luggage, sprinkled it carefully, and changed his clean clothes. The original one pulled the cloth that was not stained with blood and wrapped the wound carefully. After finishing all this, Yunwoo looked at the dragon again, but there was still no movement. Sighing, Yunwoo closed her eyes and adjusted her breath. Although she was hiding in time, she was hurt by the wind. The people on the other side of the cave are still searching for the golden scale young dragon in their mouth, but they never get anything. When it's dark, Yunwoo's physical strength is restored, and he takes some dry food to eat. The cub is also circling at his feet, whimpering in his mouth. I want to say something, but I can't say it. What's the matter with you? Cloud Dance frowns, looking at the little beast. Anxious look puzzled. Although the little guy can understand people, he can't speak. In this way, there are problems in communication. The cub turned around the dragon for 2 times, then twisted his body and went to the dark hole. He called twice, and his bright red eyes were full of expectation. Seeing this Cloud Dance, he couldn't help frowning, but he asked tentatively, "Do you mean that the dragon's evil coma has something to do with this cave?" As a matter of fact, she had been speculating about this problem for a long time, but she always felt that something was wrong. Ouch! See Cloud Dance finally understand their own meaning. Small cub excited called twice, and began to circle in the hole. Yunwoo pondered for a while, took a kettle to feed some water to Long Qingxie, and then went down with a solid yuan pill. After that, he packed up his things and stood at the entrance of the cave and looked around. The next second, hand a brush, a blue light swept. Blue Yu suddenly stood beside. "Master. Lan Yu, you look at him here. If someone is close to you, he has a bad intention." Yunwoo's breath suddenly became a lot more dangerous, and he said in a deep voice, "Shoot to kill." Yes, Lan Yu nods. Cloud Dance this just saw to sweep an eye hole, then saw an eye to still be in coma. Long Qing evil. What's in it? To put him in a coma like this? In any case, with Lan Yu, she is more assured of his safety. So, with his worried eyes converged, Yunwoo walked towards the dark hole and touched it slightly. Just like what I thought, that layer of black is just a cover-up. I can't see it clearly. What's in it? You have to go in to find out. Pick up at the foot of the small animal constantly churning. Yunwoo raised his feet into the darkness. The hole that Long Qingxie blasted out before was just enough for one person to pass. As soon as I stepped in, my sight was distorted. Then, it is a feeling of rapid falling. Weightlessness feeling is not good. Yunwoo was surprised. She wanted to use the wind element to stabilize her body, but she found that there was no movement in her body, and her element force was like a stone sinking into the sea. I'm still falling. After adapting to the darkness around, the cloud dance can only barely see clearly. It seems that the stone wall moving up in front of it is still growing unknown tender grass or moss in the crevice. Damn it. It's not good to go on like this. In a moment, the cloud dance hands turned over and suddenly released the ancient martial arts sword from the space. Cloud dance arm force fiercely stabbed the big knife into the stone wall. Chong chong. The knife cut across the wall, leaving a little spark. Body because of gravity down to more than 10 meters, just gradually barely steady. However, because of the huge pulling force, the wound on Yunwoo's shoulder split a lot, and the red blood dyed the cloth on his body. Damn it, this stone bai is really hard. With such force, she only inserted a little bit of it. Cloud dance curse again in the heart. The cub wine was on her chest. For a moment, there was no need to worry about the little guy falling down by himself, but now where should she go? The clouds are dancing around. It's like a natural grotto. I don't know how deep it is. And all around bare, there is no place to trample, not even a vine. Little fellow, are you cheating me? Cloud dance helplessly looking at the chest humming little beast, what the hell is this place? If she couldn't get up and down, she didn't even have a place to stay. If she didn't fall down for a while, her arm would be useless. The cub took a look at Yunwoo, and his eyes were full of grievances. Then he twisted his body to look left and right, and suddenly called twice towards a place. Cloud dance, look at the past. It seems that the place where the cub signals is no different from other places, and it is lower than where it is now. But now, the only choice for Cloud dance is to listen to the little cubs. Because at this time, her arm is almost out of force. And, strangely, she suddenly felt dizzy in front of her eyes. Yunwoo shakes her head and tries to wake up. With the strength of his other hand, gritting teeth patted on the wall, and his body quickly fell in an arc. His unconscious left arm was forced by Yunwoo, and he hung his body on the wall with the help of Guwoo's sword. At this time, the position beside her was just the place the cub indicated. Looking at the inexplicably excited cub, Yunwoo frowned, clasped a prominent stone in his hand, and moved his body down slowly. All the way to the place the cub pointed to, he reached for it, only to find that his arm passed through the stone easily. What's going on? Is this stone wall a virtual shadow? Yunwoo frowned and groped around the place with his hand. After confirming the range, he put his arm into it and swung his body in. But because it's only a rough guess, I'm not sure how big the entrance is. Yunwoo's knee still couldn't avoid knocking to the edge, a burst of pain hit, the original dizziness was replaced by pain. And at that moment, the line of sight in front of Cloud dance suddenly brightened. Inside the entrance, there was a passage. The passage is not long. Even if you stand at the entrance, you can see another world not far away from the pane. Yes, it's another space. In the eye, is a piece of green flowers, as if between, also vaguely heard the birds call. This place is like a paradise isolated from the world, without any sense of secularity and danger. It seems that there won't be any other faults in the way that the cubs are happy. Therefore, Yunwoo took a breath and relaxed, but with such a relief, the previously neglected pain and fatigue emerged. The pain in the knee is negligible. But at this time, Yunwoo obviously felt that the whole left arm was almost unconscious. The blood dyed most of the clothes red, which was incompatible with the place that looked extremely quiet and peaceful. Yunwoo is sitting on the ground with her back against the wall. The cold from the wall behind her is not enough to make Yunwoo awake. She loses too much blood and uses too much force to make her feel that she may faint at any time. What's going on? Before I suffered so much injury, I would not have such tired dizziness. Why did she just hurt an arm, but it made her feel as if she was seriously hurt? This place is so weird. After a while, Yunwoo thought of the unconscious dragon above. He gritted his teeth and stood up with his hand against the wall. Suddenly, I felt a strong wind coming behind me. Yunwoo was surprised, so she turned around and saw 3 darts on the ground where she was sitting, and a man appeared at the entrance of the cave. 5-star meeting. Cloud dance a hand to cover wound, deep cold Mao sun, looking at that where 5-star meeting to serve of man. She didn't feel his entry, which means that his strength is above her. In her present state, I'm afraid that she can't beat him. This man suddenly appears here. That dragon is evil. Oh, Zitong's descendants of the witch family, I've got a bargain today. You'll be dead soon. Let me tell you my name, Zhao Shi. 5-star sub-pilot vice pilot Zhao Shi was also in a bit of a mess. However, it looks much better than Yunwoo. Apart from some abrasions, there's nothing else. Standing firmly in the same place, he still holds a long sword in his hand. The running dogs of the 5-star club are everywhere. Cloud dance mouth sarcasm, disdain in the eyes of the expression of success angered Zhao Shi, only to see his face a burst of pale, lips tight. The deathbed are still making rude remarks here. Zhao Shi was suddenly in a dilemma and came forward with his sword. Seeing that this woman has been seriously injured, I'm afraid that she will not be able to support without 2 moves. In this case, he doesn't have to use the power of the few elements left. What's more, this place sounds strange, and the internal power seems to be suppressed. Zhao Shi's mind was very good. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Yunwoo, and the cold light on the sword was flashing. Cloud dance is not to avoid the meaning of one hand into a claw, condensation of a group of black light. Click. Just one click. Zhao Shi's eyes flashed a touch of surprise, looking at the long sword in his hand inch by inch broken, staring at the cloud dance that broke his sword with bare hands. You. Cloud dance also retreated a few steps, the corner of the mouth pulled out a trace of disdain smile. Tang Tang is a 5-star sub-helm deputy leader. Is this the only strength? Hearing the speech, Zhao Shi's face turned red as if he had been humiliated. He gritted his teeth angrily. If it wasn't for him, after he came into this ghost place, he would not only have been suppressed, but also exhausted a lot of physical strength and energy to find this entrance. At this time, he would have torn the woman to pieces, which round she laughed at him. Cloud dance mouth said stimulating words, but it is in secretly pay attention to this, from where to retreat first. She is sure to suffer a loss if she goes on so hard. Zhao Shi doesn't know what Yunwoo thinks. Seeing that Yunwoo is seriously injured and can still block his sword, he can't help being cautious and deadlocked with Yunwoo. The physical strength quickly loses, the cloud dance frowns. We can't wait any longer. We must find a place to heal as soon as possible. Fortunately, in this cave, the power of elements in the body can be mobilized. Cloud dance's eyes were cold. As soon as the hand was turned, the fire element suddenly condensed into more than 10 fireballs, which directly attacked the past. The fire lights up some dim holes. Zhao Shi was caught off guard. The fireball on the ground or the dust and gravel from the top of the cave covered his sight. And the cloud dance is to seize the opportunity, hold the little beast on the ground, and flash into the space inside. When the dust dissipated, there was no cloud dancing in front of Zhao Shi's eyes. Hard teeth spat I will find you, kill you. After the cloud dances into that space. All the time, there are huge leaves or branches in front of us. We can only keep turning and changing our route. Occasionally something rubs the wound on our shoulders, which leads to a shudder. What the hell is this? Why is everything so big? It seems that in this space, she has been shrunk. When Yunwoo saw a butterfly bigger than the wash basin for the 3rd time, she couldn't help but scold. At the same time, she saw that there seemed to be a tree hole not far ahead, so she sped up her pace and ran to it. The tree hole seems to be formed naturally. It's very dry inside. It's just a nest of eggs that you can see at the first glance. Each palm size, red eggshell covered with brown irregular spots, about 10. It seems that the tree hole has its owner. Yunwoo just hesitated for a moment, moved the egg to the side, then went in and pulled some scattered vines outside to make the tree hole look more hidden. He curled up his feet and Yunwoo was relieved. For the time being, I'll take a breath in this space. I always feel that when I enter this place, I feel that my heart is not enough. It's very strange. Fortunately, the tree hole is big enough, so you don't have to worry about crushing the eggs and making them full of egg liquid. Ouch! The cub, who has been held by Yunwoo, struggles to come out. The little paw hooks the corner of Yunwoo's coat and looks at the egg with salivation in his eyes. You don't want to eat, do you? Looking at the little cub's urgent appearance, Yunwoo's eyes are strange. Hearing this, the cub immediately looks up at Yunwoo, and its red eyes are opposite to Yunwoo, full of humanized plea. No, bear it. Yunwoo resolutely refused. Little cub immediately a pair of frustrated staring at the cloud dance for a long time, just a face heartbroken expression, twist the buttock back to go. Cloud dance helpless, also lazy tube. This seems to be in a temper of the little guy. Who knows the mother of these eggs? I'll see later. If I can beat them, I'll give them to you. If I can't beat them. Cloud dance sneer twice, don't say eat, or think about how not to be eaten. The little cub seemed to understand Yunwoo's words, and the little triangle on his head moved. After seeing Yunwoo for a moment, he twisted his body to the entrance of the cave, as if ready to go out. Yunwoo just glanced at it and didn't care. Quan Dang was still angry. It's time to heal. Peel off the clothes that have been soaked with blood. The blood has been coagulated, and it is hard to avoid pulling the skin and flesh. Hiss. Cloud Dance can't help but take a cold breath in a soft voice, patiently pull down the clothes bit by bit, exposing the wound which has expanded a bit on it. Yunwoo frowned and took the powder out of his brocade bag. But it didn't get worse and inflamed. At that time, she really couldn't have her arm. Apply medicine and bandage at one go. If he had a needle and thread in his hand, Yunwoo felt that he would probably sew it up. But now he was in a critical situation, so he had to give up the idea. With a long sigh of relief, she closed her eyes and breathed. She felt the exhausted Yuanli in her body. She found that Yuanli in her body seemed to be consumed by some repression, and she looked depressed. I really don't understand why this place is so weird. When I was just about to practice meditation, there was a big hiss at the entrance of the cave. Yunwoo was surprised, opened his eyes and held the dagger in his hand. It was just then. There is a strange thing creeping in from the cave entrance. It looks like an ant-eater, but it's not sure how big it is. The scales on the body reflecting the dark light and the huge claws on the front paws make Yunwoo cool. It's not a good thing to be stuck in a cave. What's more, she has nothing to do but fight. That thing called again, the fierce dynasty Cloud Dance pours at to come over. Cloud Dance quickly rolled to the other side, looking at the tree trunk that was caught into debris, scolding in the heart. Is this guy really not afraid to break his eggs? Or is it just such a low IQ? Just came next, the monster didn't give too much time to make complaints about the clouds and dance. The head was a long one, and a long green kiss from the long front kiss led to the dancing. This place has all kinds of ghosts. Yunwoo quickly dodged again, but it was still a step late. The wound on his left arm was rubbed by the green light again. There was a sharp pain. Yunwoo's feet were unstable and almost fell to the ground. Boom! Debris from the tree trunk was splashed behind. Yunwoo's eyes were fixed on the angry monster. It was only a step away from the entrance of the cave. However, the tree cave was not small, but it was not big. If she went there now, she might be whipped away by someone else's tail. Cloud Dance looked at the egg that was about to be stepped on by the monster, moved in the heart, quickly bent down and fished an egg in his arms. She wanted to see what she could do with her children in her own hands. Who knows, that monster was really enraged, but it didn't act rashly as Yunwoo had expected. Instead, it roared, and the front kiss condensed a larger green light to bomb quickly. Boom! The surrounding air was stirred, and Yunwoo had no doubt that if he was hit by this thing, he would immediately become a pile of broken meat. He tilted his body and forced his feet. Yunwoo slightly bent his body and threw his body towards the hole. The light of his eyes saw the broken eggs affected by the green light explosion, followed by a thick tail with barbs. Damn it! When he was hit by the tail, Yunwoo doubted in his heart whether he would be killed by the tail, and then he was hit in the air by a huge repulsive force, experiencing the feeling of not riding and flying for a time. Before his eyes darkened, Yunwoo saw a little cub running over with short fat legs and a string of red fruits in his mouth. Fool, what are you doing here? Don't run. Roar. Behind him came the roar of the monster. Cloud Dance has no strength to see, just feel consciousness suddenly hit by something, directly into a dark. When she wakes up again. It was dusk, and the soft orange light fell on her face, which made her feel as if she had passed away. She's still alive. Flashed in the mind before the fainting situation, Cloud cannot help but frown. Almost subconsciously want to get up, but, just move, but found limbs stiff she can't move. What's going on? The cloud dances to stare big eyes, in front of eyes is the tree crown which is far away from oneself. To tell you the truth, at this moment, Yunwoo's heart is a little flustered. After several more attempts, Yunwoo finally had to admit it. Now she is not only paralyzed, but also unable to feel the power of the elements, the black pride and space in the chaotic palace, including Bai Lao, who has been sleeping for a long time. Damn it! The bottom of Yunwoo's heart couldn't help cursing a low curse, and he wanted to struggle, but he was still paralyzed and could not move. Yunwoo was a little flustered. But he soon calmed down and recalled what had just happened in his mind. She was whipped away by the monster's tail. Maybe it was at that time that my meridians were broken, and then I saw the cub running over cubs. Thinking of the key, Yunwoo wants to turn around and see where the little guy has gone. She was not eaten by the monster. Was someone helping her or something? She clearly remembers that before she passed out of coma, she seemed to feel a wave of its strange power. Ouch! Just thinking about this, Yunwoo heard a familiar hum in her ear. Then, saw a half-round rolling golden body appeared in the line of sight. It turns out that this little guy is always by her side. Inexplicably, Yunwoo felt relieved. I saw the fat body twisting for a long time. I didn't know what I was doing. After a while, a cold, bead-like thing was bitten by the cub and put to the lip. Woo-woo. Maybe it's because there's something in the mouth, so it's inconvenient for the cubs to open their mouth and shout. They can only use their nose to hum and haw. Fruit for her. Cloud Dance eyes across a trace of doubt, a trace of sweet taste into the nose. Cloud Dance simply will open the mouth to eat that thing, chew twice, sweet juice immediately fried in the mouth. It's a pity that the fruit is only a little bit. Cloud Dance dry dumb voice with a little dissatisfaction. Little guy, do you feed me with such a little thing? Ouch! Yunwoo is helpless. She can't communicate with this little thing. Just want to close your eyes to rest for a while, thinking about what to do now. Yunwoo suddenly noticed the body and a trace of strange. It's like a fire was suddenly swallowed in my stomach. The burning pain and heat are no less than the effect of eating the Kailan fruit. It hurts. This is the only feeling of Cloud Dance. At the beginning, it can bite its teeth and keep silent. But when it comes to the back, it's also a small pain groan overflowing from the mouth. The whole body seemed to be surrounded by fire. What's more, after the heat, it was as cold as ice cave. Hun egg. You give me something to eat. What did you eat? The little cub circled around, his red eyes full of worry, but Yunwoo couldn't see it from this angle now. At this time, Yunwoo felt like a man with no strength to bind a chicken. He was forced to be put on Xingtai. He had no choice but to gripe his teeth and accept the pain of reality. In the final analysis, it is just one word, patience. In the endless pain, Let Cloud dance almost can't help but wonder, this guy is not because he didn't allow it to eat those eggs, deliberately revenge himself, right? Of course, this idea is just thinking. It's hot and cold all over. Not much for a while, pale pain on the cheek, is full of fine sweat, more let Cloud dance pain is, she is still unable to move. Even if he suffered so much, he still lay on the ground like a useless man. I don't know how long it took. When the alternate torture gradually subsided, Yunwoo had passed out. His clothes were soaked with sweat, and night fell. If you look carefully, you can see that the clouds are dancing at this time, and the whole body is covered with a layer of milky halo. The wounds covered by clothes are also healing very quickly. The little cub who has been watching the cloud dance all the time sees this scene. His bright red eyes reveal a reassuring look of humanity. A pair of flesh wings on his back incite slightly, and the golden light wraps the cloud dance. Half ring, when the golden light dispersed, Yunwoo's sweat-soaked clothes were dry. And the cub, is tired nest in the cloud chest, into a deep sleep. When Yunwoo wakes up again, he sees the faint light in the leaves above his head, and only one idea is in his head. Is she still alive? Before the idea completely dissipated, there was another cold thing on the lips. Yunwoo was stiff. The next second, but almost subconsciously turned away from the mouth that cold things, frown way, this in the end is what thing? You. The voice stopped suddenly, with surprise in Yunwoo's eyes, and he tried to twist his head. When he wanted to move his body, he found that he had no consciousness except that his neck could move freely. Woo woo. The little cub saw the surprise in Yunwoo's eyes, and his face was full of pride. He could not help but put the fruit in his mouth to Yunwoo's lips again. At this time, I feel the subtle changes in my body, so Cloud Dance is not stupid. Therefore, Cloud Dance did not hesitate, immediately eat. And then it's the same torture that makes life worse than death. However, with the previous preparation in mind, this time Cloud Dance did not faint again, but still a little fuzzy. Half a day later. Try to move your body. Yunwoo found that your fingers can move 2 times, and you can feel the force of elements in your body. It turns out that the fruit has a repairing effect. Yunwoo felt excited and worried. According to this progress, when she was able to walk freely, I didn't know how long it had been, but at this time, Long Qingxia was still on it. How can she not worry? Because that Zhao Shi has found it, it means that Dragon Qingxia must have been found. Of course, with Lan Yu, she can rest assured for the time being. However, it's hard to guarantee that we won't meet the more powerful 5-star club. Little guy, can you eat more at a time? Yunwoo looks at the cub and asks. There was a look of distress in the little cub's eyes. After 2 turns in the same place, he shook his head firmly. It's too slow. The dragon is still on it. There's a 5-star meeting here. I don't know when it will come out. Yunwoo frowned and said his worries. Who knows, the cub just hesitated for a moment and then shook his head firmly again. Anyway, it just can't. He gave up communicating with this simple-minded guy. Yunwoo closed his eyes and pretended to be asleep. He only heard that he was quiet for a while, and then he was covered with warmth. Through the eyelids, Yunwoo can feel that there is a layer of light covering her now, and who else can cover her with light except that little guy? To be honest, I don't like this little guy. It's a fake. But after hesitating for a moment, Yunwoo decided to conserve her energy when the clothes became soft and dry. The next day. When the cub was still dozing off, Yunwoo opened his eyes and squinted at the red fruits beside him. Is that what the cub gave her to eat in those 2 days? Yunwoo licks her lower lip, and Xiaoxin moves her conscious arm at the beginning. Until she is sweating, and the cub seems to sleep uneasily, Yunwoo holds the cold fruit in her hand and tightens it. In such a passive time, she would rather choose dangerous index. She likes to fight. When a few fruit into the belly, even if Cloud Dance has been ready enough, or by the sudden pain made a groan. The body suddenly seems to be filled with something. Yunwoo can feel a powerful force rushing in its body. Well, ouch! The little cub was awakened by Yunwoo's violent shaking body. When he opened his eyes in doubt, he saw Yunwoo's twisted cheek because of severe pain. The burning temperature under his body made the little cub a little confused for a moment. As soon as he turned his head, the place where he had put the fruit was empty. The little cub also understood the reason why Yunwoo was so painful suddenly. Ouch, ouch. Noisy, it's so noisy. Listen to make complaints about the little cubs, and the cloud dance still couldn't help but tutsao. However, at this time, the line of sight in her eyes seemed to be distorted. She couldn't even see the rolling body of the cub clearly. Alternating hot and cold is more frequent and intense than before. After Yunwoo endured for a while, he felt that his body was slowly expanding, and cracks appeared on his skin, spilling blood. Ah! Finally, I couldn't help crying out in pain. The cub turns around in a hurry, and finally looks at the clouds curling up like shrimps, with a trace of determination in his eyes. The meat wings on the back are lifted, and the puffan is opened twice. The fleshy body of the cub was quickly raised and enlarged, with a piece of golden light shining on its body. The scales on its body were more rigid and smooth, and the patterns on it were also clearly visible. Just cloud dance at this time, now the whole person is immersed in pain, did not notice the change of the little cub. In the hazy, Yunwoo felt the momentum of destroying the sky and the earth again, and reluctantly opened his eyes to see the huge thing in front of him. A gold liner envelopes itself, and the intense pain seems to have eased a lot. Yunwoo doesn't have the heart to see what it is for the moment. Taking advantage of the pain relief, she mobilizes the weak yuan force in her body to slowly wrap and melt the unknown force. After carefully dispersing, it slowly dissolves in any part of her body. I can clearly feel that the broken muscles and bones are healing rapidly at this time. This process is extremely painful and slow. Half a day later. When the pain faded, Yunwoo fainted exhausted. The faint halo on her body gathered in her forehead and heart, flashed twice and disappeared. The cub took back his inner pill, which had shrunk by a circle. He became smaller and swayed twice. He barely walked to Yunwoo's side and fell asleep on the ground. What they don't know is that not far away, the danger is slowly approaching. Not far away. Just now, the golden light from the cub suddenly attracted the attention of a figure. Zhao Shi narrowed his eyes and stared for a while. He pulled his knife out of the body of an ant-like monster on the ground and wiped it clean. What's going on here? Everything seems to be magnified. Moreover, there are many rare animals that ordinary people have never seen. Zhao Shi took a look at the butterflies flying in the air. They all have the size of a wash basin, and their colors are bright and beautiful. What's contained in the beautiful Lin powder is all poisonous. However, Zhao Shi was not surprised at this time. Instead, after kicking the corpse on the ground, he quickly walked towards the position where the golden light was just shining, and the blood-stained wound all the way under Zhao Shi's feet. A huge forest by a tree. When Zhao Shi's figure came and saw the cloud dancing in a coma on the ground, he was stunned, and then a look of ecstasy passed by his eyes. The next second, I look up and laugh. Ha ha ha, no matter how you escape, this is the so-called destiny, you're doomed to die in my hands. Zhao Shi approached Yunwoo with a machete in his hand, and his eyes were full of pleasure. However, when he wanted to wave the knife, he suddenly changed his mind when he looked at the pale cloud dancing in a coma. A strange color flashed across his eyes. It would be a pity if such a good body and face were ruined. Murmur, with some evil in it. If Yunwoo was awake at this time, he would be able to see the salivation and disgusting desire in Zhao Shi's eyes. It's just that the cloud dances in a daze, the cub's strength is exhausted, and the dragon is still sleeping in the cave above. As soon as Zhao Shi's words came down, he squatted down, grabbed Yunwoo's shirt in his hand, and saw a trace of excitement in his eyes. Zhao Shi couldn't help swallowing because of the white and tender skin on Yunwoo's collar. He felt that his throat was a little dry. He quickly cleared his throat and pulled his hand brush. Ah, there was a scream. See Zhao Shi's hand suddenly more than a branch, directly penetrated his palm, blood dripping. Who is it? Come out of here! Zhao Shi's eyes are about to crack. His hands are shaking constantly, and a lot of pain rolls him up. Now he doesn't dare to pull the branch down easily because of the barb. It's clearly visible. You dare to touch my women? Are you tired of living? A cold voice, like a ghost, came from all directions. When Zhao Shi heard this, his pupils contracted. He's a woman. Is it him in the news? The man they've been looking for? When Zhao Shi thought about it, his eyes sank fiercely. Then he said, no matter you are a human or a ghost, you will come out and hide like what? Come out, I don't know what to do. The ghost voice suddenly cold hum, the next second, swept from all sides of the branches, suddenly brush, to break the air raid. Zhao Shi seemed surprised, subconsciously in a hurry to dodge, but still in the body continued to leave wounds. However, what really surprised Zhao Shi was that he used the strength of his attributes to resist, only to find that it was useless for these branches which were only mixed with strong wind, and easily penetrated his defense. For a time, I was in a hurry to avoid. You wait for me. The hero didn't suffer from the immediate loss. Seeing that the situation was not right, Zhao Shi made a cruel remark, and then pulled out his sword to beat off several branches and ran away in a panic. And just then, the owner of the previous voice was silent for a while. Half a ring. A figure, slowly and quietly appeared in the cloud around. His white clothes are better than snow. His long hair is simply tied up. He stands beside Yunwu with a negative hand and droops his eyes. When his eyes fall on Yunwu, there is a trace of complexity in his eyes. It's hard for you to look like her. When the cold fingers touch Yunwu's cheek, Yunwu's eyelashes tremble twice and open his eyes blankly. In the haze, he seems to see the dragon pouring evil. Did he come? There was a little surprise in Yunwu's heart, but when the hazy receded and finally saw the person in front of her, Yunwu immediately sat up. Dragon. You. No. It doesn't feel right. Yunwu suddenly stops and approaches, reaches out and holds the sleeping cub in her arms, and then steps back from the ground. Hand and the body touch, carry a dagger has been held in the hand, squint at the man in front of. A man as like as two peas. You are not a dragon, who are you? In the face of Cloud Dance, he suddenly became fierce and changed his attitude and tone obviously. The man was silent for a while and said faintly, if I were not him, who else would I have? Cloud Dance frowns and denies, you are not. I am, and I am not, but I am not the dragon that you know. The man stood up, dressed in white, and his temperament was as cold as a fairy who didn't eat fireworks. There are two extremes with the evil dragon. Yunwu stood up with him. The excitement in his eyes was completely replaced by indifference and vigilance. Who the hell are you? The man looked as like as two peas of Cloud Dancing, and the look was still faint. This made Cloud Dance more positive. Although the man in front of him was almost identical to the dragon, he was absolutely not. I'll tell you all these things when you've solved the problems. The man said at the same time, that pair of indifferent eyes, suddenly swept around. After hearing what he said, Yunwu suddenly found out that there were all kinds of warcraft around. They were fierce teeth, tusks, and claws. It was obvious that there was no herbivorous series. Remember what you said. Yunwu is not worried, because at this time, she can clearly feel that the Yuan force in her body has recovered, and it seems that the strange sense of depression has disappeared. Now she has some troubles in dealing with these fierce beasts, but she can definitely cope with them. The man heard the words, and did not make any response. With a wave of Cloud Dancing hand, a burst of black air swirled around, and the ancient sword suddenly appeared in his hand. Holding the sword as if it had been a long time away, the power filled the whole body, which made Yunwu a little moved and excited. And a little bit of excitement. After all, she still likes to kill without any repression. Cloud Dance lips cape a smile, wave the big knife in the hand, dead fire cooperative attack go out. Hua hua brush. Roar. Sword light, sword shadow, fierce claws. On the battlefield of man and beast, possession is only life and death, bloody. And the surrounding trees are inevitably affected by some, with the cloud that the ancient martial arts sword attack, under the fire attack, leaving a thick black, thin, naturally cut off the waist. After a few days of immobility, cloud dance is like a one-off, release all the long suppressed power in the body. There was a trace of bloodthirsty red light in his eyes. Yunwu stood the sword on himself, and the excited look in his eyes kept flashing. All of a sudden, the force of the 7 color elements around us, with the cloud dance as the center, flew out in a circle, and cut off a group of fierce beasts in the inner circle. If the class was weaker, they were cut off. The body is constantly twitching or twisting on the ground, and the blood has dyed the grass red. In the area where the cloud dance is located, the tender grass has already been eroded by the force of elements, leaving only a circle of burnt black. And just that man in white, I do not know when already jumped on a tree. Looking at this killing scene, his expressionless face seemed to have a similar look of disgust and frown. After half a ring, Yunwu killed a happy man. The rest of the wounded beasts had some brains. They didn't dare to provoke the evil god in front of them and ran away in confusion. He felt the sweat on his forehead and felt very happy. The feeling of stretching her muscles and bones in this way really made her feel as if she had a taste of coming back to life. However, at this time, Yunwu suddenly raised his head and looked at the man hiding in the tree, with a smile on his lips. "What are you doing so far away? Don't you mean you'll tell me?" There was a strange expression on the man's face, but he still flew down, stood firmly in front of Yunwu, and stood with his hands down. To his this kind of tall posture, Cloud Dance picked eyebrows, but the line of sight still looked him up and down. After a while, Cloud Dance just chuckled. "It's really very similar to Dragon Qingxie. Why haven't I heard that he has brothers or something?" "Not brothers," the man retorted. After a moment's silence, he stretched out his hand and pulled his slightly wrinkled cuff, and said in a deep voice, "I am a remnant of his former life, and I am waiting for you to come here." A wisp of ghost from the past. The past life of Long Qingxie. How is that possible? Yunwu instinctively wants to deny it, but she is not only a ghost, but also a beast, by Shuer. Is he really his past life? Cloud Dance frown, still vigilant looking at him. "Then how do you know I will come?" "There is a destiny in the dark, many things have been doomed." The man stopped for a moment and then continued to speak, "And you are too much like her, if not." However, after that, he was suddenly silent. Cloud Dance frowned and asked, "If not what?" The man shook his head, then turned and looked at a huge ancient tree not far away. "Don't ask more about the others. When you should know, you will know. You came in just for him." The man stretched out his hand, pointed to the huge ancient tree, and said faintly, "The reason why he didn't wake up is because of the ancient tree. You can find it yourself. I'll give it away soon." Language falls at the moment, instantly see that white figure, as if from the air faded away. Cloud Dance this also want to ask what, but already disappeared that man's figure. "Take back the ancient sword." Yunwu frowned and stared at the old tree for a while, as if thinking about the truth of the man's words, and then walked there. Whether it is or not, it's better to see it. Cloud Dance didn't notice, just after she left, the figure that just disappeared appeared in the just position again. The man's lips were tight and frowned slightly, and his eyes fell on the little cub lying on Yunwu's shoulder. When walking towards the giant tree, Yunwu took a look at the cub lying on his shoulder. In recent days, she has seen what this little guy has done for himself. To tell you the truth, it's really hard work. However, there was a trace of banter in Yunwu's eyes, and the curvature of his lips widened. He said in a loud voice, "It's really tiring to walk with this little guy, or I'll leave it here." The cub was still motionless. But Yunwu clearly saw that the little beast's eyelids jumped. "I don't know if there are many Warcraft around here," Such tender meat must be very popular. After a pause, he said, "It's very dangerous to take an unidentified thing with you. Forget it." This time, the little cub finally can't pretend to go on. He opens his watery eyes and sobs. Woo-woo. To achieve this goal, Yunwoo unhurriedly lifted the cub from his shoulder and looked up and down. In addition to this golden, it's really not up to the giant in my impression. What are you, little fellow? Yunwoo doesn't remember how many times she asked this question. After she asked, she suddenly felt that it was too stupid and sighed. However, it suddenly said a low, "If you don't say, don't follow me." Ouch! A pair of big red eyes full of grievances. See here, Cloud dance in the end or appear soft-hearted. Although the little guy can understand people's words, he obviously can't speak. It's not fraud. It seems that she is more attentive. Cloud Dance reached out and rubbed its little brain, then put it on the shoulder again. Well, if you don't say it, just stay honest. The little ORC was relieved, and climbed up on the top of Cloud Dance's head, so he didn't move. Cloud Dance chuckles, such a small meatball on the head also don't have what feeling, simply also let it go. Keep going. However, Cloud Dance's vision swept a punch all around, not letting go of any corner around. Because, from the moment she left that place, she had a feeling of being watched, always like a shadow. Ouch! The little beast on the top of his head suddenly screamed, and some excitedly grabbed the clouds with his little claws, which made him dance on the top of his head. The young claws didn't bring much pain. Only when Yunwoo looked in the direction indicated by the cub, he saw a simple stone tablet. What is this? Cloud Dance's eyes were full of doubts. She went forward to squat down, reached out and poked away the weeds around her, revealing the handwriting on the mottled stone tablet. The doubts in her eyes turned into surprise. A year here, a day outside. Cloud Dance read out with the above words, a little thought, the thing that always worried in the heart finally fell to the ground. She stayed here for a year, but it was only one day outside. In this way, she didn't have to worry about the accident when Long Qingxia stayed there alone. Cloud Dance clapped the dust on his hands, with a smile on his face. He looked up at the ancient tree in front of him, which seemed to be very far away. The wind was blowing at his feet. However, at that moment, the Cloud Dance heart read a move, suddenly a carving sound broke the air. See Gold Spirit Circle flash out, suddenly spread wings, appear in Cloud Dance body. Originally, Jinling didn't want to stay in the space. He felt that his freedom was limited. But since he came to the upper bound, something happened at any time, so Yunwoo let him stay in the space for the time being. Today, it's really useful. Jinling, go to that old tree. Cloud Dance half squats to grasp a pinch of hair on Jinling's body to prevent himself from falling down. Hearing this, Jinling roared up to the sky and rushed forward like a sword. The cub also howled and grasped Cloud's hair, but it was afraid. Yunwoo takes the baby from the top of his head and holds it in his arms. The surrounding scenery is constantly skimming. After the lush green, there is a piece of peach powder. But Jinling's speed is too fast, so Yunwoo can't see what is around. It doesn't seem to be a long way. Yunwoo rode on Jinling and flew for nearly half an hour to reach the open branch of the ancient tree. Look up. I saw the ancient wood towering into the clouds, the trunk of the tree was very strong, and I was close to it. I could not believe that it was actually a wall in front of me. Taking back the Jinling, Yunwoo stood under the ancient tree and looked up for a while. His neck was sour, but he still didn't see the top. The white clouds shrouded him and couldn't really see. Long Qingxia is in a coma. Does it have anything to do with this? Cloud Dance doubts, such ancient wood is really difficult to see, but if it is related to Dragon Qingxia, it is far-fetched. In the heart suspected that the man is in deceive oneself possibility, Cloud Dance shakes his head, has no reason, unless that man is too idle. In desperation, Yunwoo simply sat down against the tree trunk, closed her eyes and looked inside. I saw that the broken bones and muscles were well linked at this time, even a little more than before. The force of 7 elements revolves around a white light in the dantian, and you can see the mysterious branch rooted in her abdomen. It seems that everything is normal, and even there are signs of breakthrough. Originally, she was a little worried about what effect this would bring to her body, which seemed to be beneficial instead. Yunwoo has just breathed a sigh of relief. Suddenly, the feeling of being watched came back to me. Yunwoo's eyes were dark, and he did not hide his murderous spirit. A pair of eyes with sharp lights swept around where he could hide. As before, nothing. Take back your eyes. Yunwoo looks down to play with the paws of the small and medium-sized cubs, thinking in your heart. Is it really just because she's a little nervous recently? Or because the other party's cultivation is too deep, so that she has no trace? Either answer is obviously not a good thing for her. Cloud Dance sighs in the heart, a look up, but suddenly on a pair of placid eyes. Scared subconsciously back, the back of the head mercilessly hit the tree trunk, issued a low pain, eyes also filled with a bit of water mist. The answer you want is on this tree. The man looked at Cloud Dance's eyes' moist appearance, inexplicably feel a soft heart, and then returned to the usual indifferent, left a word after turning away. Cloud Dance now has refocused line of sight, the white figure in front of you, leaving a distance, quietly disappeared. He's watching. No wonder she thinks that there are always people watching. It's probably him. Yunwoo frowned at the direction of the man's disappearance for a long time, and looked up at the ancient tree high into the cloud. With a sigh of relief, Yunwoo stood up and stepped back 2 steps. The next second, his heart moved. Jinling. A low drink, with a burst of golden light diffuse, Jinling appears in Yunwoo, just let Yunwoo ride on its neck. Yunwoo grabs Jinling with one hand and takes the trembling cub into his arms with the other. Jinling, rush up. Yes, a response, accompanied by crisp bird call. Jinling puffed 2 huge wings, soared up, the strong wind will blow the ground flowers and plants skew a lot, the body so close to the trunk of the ancient wood, swaying up, scattered the thin cloud. The cloud danced so that the body was almost 90 degrees vertical to the ground, and the long hair was blown around by the strong wind. Cloud Dance grits teeth and puts all the center of gravity on Jinling to ensure that he won't be blown down suddenly. Little cubs, not to mention, squeak into Yunwoo's arms and refuse to come out. Cloud Dance does not know whether it is their own illusion, in front of the wind constantly beating over, seems to be getting bigger and bigger. Jinling is also Malfoot's strength up, and so on Cloud Dance suddenly feel a pain on the arm. As soon as I lowered my head, I found that there was a red mark on it. As for the clothes on the outside, they were broken. It's not so easy to go up. The clouds gnash their teeth, and the force of the elements rises. They reach out and hook out a protective cover outside the Jinling, covering the Jinling with themselves. Hua hua. Looking at the white light from the barrier which was hit by something, Yunwoo's eyes became cold. If she had not been on guard in time, she would have been torn to pieces by these suddenly aggravating wind blades. What's in thinking about that man in white? Thinking in my heart, a strong repulsion came from my hand and I looked up. I saw that the wind blades, now with a faint shape, were full of light blue light, and split in the shape of crescent moon. It was as if they were really conscious. Those staggering from their sides all fell off, turned back and beat them hard behind them. Jinling, hurry up! Cloud Dance's face has been a little white, and his hand is on Jinling's body, constantly conveying the yuan force in his body to Jinling's body. Jinling's body was full of golden light. With a long roar and a powerful wing, he broke through the sky, and some of them stopped unsteadily on a fork. He was also exhausted. Yunwoo took back the tired Jinling and leaned back on the tree trunk to gasp twice. His hair was a little messy, his face was pale, and his eyes were full of happiness. If the dark blue wind blade that I saw just now is knocked down, I'm afraid it's enough to split Jinling and himself in half, so that they can come up again in time. Calm your heart and look around with vigilance. It was found that there was nothing different from other trees except the trunk and the huge leaves. The only special thing is that there is a small palace in the middle of the open space. From her point of view, you can just see the whole picture of the palace. I saw that the palace was like ice crystal jade, crystal clear but not transparent, with water blue. There are 2 sculptures at the gate, which are made of the same material as the palace. 1 dragon and 1 phoenix are vivid. It seems that the real dragon and phoenix are placed here, but they are frozen. As long as they melt, they will soar to the sky. If you are more careful, you can't really see Cloud dance. Therefore, Yunwoo simply put the little beast in his arms, which was still pretending to be dead, on his shoulder, and several leaps and fell steadily in front of the palace. Looking at this place, the inexplicable feeling of Cloud dance is not only familiar, but also strange and nervous. Where the hell is this? Reach out and gently push open the door carved with exquisite patterns. The space inside is bigger than you think. The first thing Yunwoo saw was a woman sitting on a lotus stand in the middle of the pool. With his back to him, his long black hair was only in a soft bun, without any pearls. There are many ice lotus in the pool. Yunwoo takes a casual look at it and is surprised. These ice lotus are the best medicinal materials. If you take them outside, I don't know how many people will fight for them. They are only used for viewing here. Even though he was surprised in his heart, Yunwoo remained silent and asked, "Where is he?" The figure of a stiff, slowly turned around. Exquisite facial features, white skin, if you can squeeze water to the general, the United States cannot square things. However, when he saw the woman's face, he let Cloud dance lose his mind. A moment later, Yunwoo subconsciously clenched the dagger in his hand and said in a shrill voice, "Who are you? Who the hell are you? That face is as like as 2 peas. Is as like as 2 peas. Maybe the only difference is that this woman is a pair of black eyes, and she actually has a pair of purple pupil." The woman stood up, just like the previous man who was as evil as the dragon, dressed in plain white, with a gardenia pinned on her ear, soft and gentle. "You is it Cloud dance?" She opened her mouth gently, and then she called out her name and frowned. "Yes, who are you?" She smiles. The smile is printed in Yunwoo's eyes. She doesn't feel any malice. Instead, like a child. However, it makes Yunwoo feel a little repellent. "I always feel that I don't like, who am I? Don't you remember when you see my face?" But it's no wonder that the reincarnation of nearly 1,000 years, not to mention you, even he, may no longer have memory. The woman seems to be very Orchid General said, eyes are very clear. What millennium reincarnation? What memory? Yunwoo didn't understand, but she didn't come here to listen to her. Where is he? Cloud dance ignored the unknown words in front, so it asked the key point directly. The woman suddenly giggled and waved her hand. A person with closed eyes slowly emerged from the pool. Long Qing Xie. The Cloud dances to get pupil to contract for a while, cold voice way. What did you do to him? What can I do to him? It's just lonely. I want to find someone to accompany me. After a pause, the woman continued to coolly say, "You know, I've been waiting for thousands of years in this Jingwon Hall. He's always unwilling to come here, so he'll come again." He? Does it mean dragon's evil? Yunwoo frowned and saw that the woman's eyes were full of obsession. In addition to her extremely similar face, it made her feel very uncomfortable. I always feel that she has something to do with her. However, at this time, Cloud Dance suddenly flashed in his mind what the man said not long ago. He is a ghost of the past life of Dragon Qing Xie. Is what he said is true? He is the ghost of the past life of Long Qing Xie. Then this woman, can't she be the ghost of her past life? Is this too weird? However, no matter whether it is or not, she does not care whether she is the ghost of her previous life. If you dare to rob a man from her, it depends on whether she is qualified or not. I don't care who you are. He's my man. Give him back to me. Yunwoo's face was low and his breath was cold. When a woman hears the words, she grins as if she hears something funny. As if a generation had passed through her face as two peas, she had a strange feeling of being a stranger. If you want him back, you can, unless you call Kangxi back. The woman said with a smile, the mouth said capricious words, or people can't bear to blame, or even take it for granted. Evil? Who the hell does she know? Yunwoo's eyes sank, and when he reached for it, a burst of black light flashed out. He saw that the half-man-high ancient sword appeared in his hand, burning with death. Return the dragon to me immediately, or I will destroy your Jingwon Hall. Cluck cluck, his soul is in my hand. If you dare to touch me, I promise that your dragon will be in a coma all his life. With the chips in hand, the woman seems not to worry about taking the dragon away. She believed that Yunwoo had seen clearly at this time that the dragon was floating on the water, and the underwater part of her body was tightly held by some small vines. Without her instructions, if you want to take it by force, it will only disappear. Yunwoo was silent for a moment, staring at the cunning woman. Who are you? Why do you want to find Kangxi? Who is the evil? Even if you have guesses in your mind, it's better to make them clear. I take it as the ghost of your previous life. My name is Nianbing. I don't need to say more about the rest. You must know that I have removed the wind blade on the road. I'd better bring back the evil quickly. Looking at the soft smile, Yunwoo always feels that it will not be so simple, but there seems to be no other way. Just as he was about to turn around, the little beast in his arms suddenly gave a low cry, which made the cloud dance stop. Little one. Yunwoo frowns. The cub's appearance at this time is obviously preventing her from leaving, but she still can't communicate smoothly. Naturally, she doesn't know what this guy wants to do. Woo-woo. The cub grunted twice. His red eyes were full of urgency. His eyes fell on the pool and then shifted to Yunwoo's face. You're going into the pool. Yunwoo tries to say what he thinks. As soon as his eyes are bright, he quickly nods his head. It's not easy to do that. Now Nianbing is looking at herself behind her. If she throws a cub in for no reason, it's hard to explain. Why don't you go yet? See, Cloud Dance stood in that place for a long time, without the slightest intention to leave. Reed Eyes can't help but slightly squint eyes, from the bottom of the eyes seems to see a trace of impatience. I have something else to ask you. Yunwoo turns around, hides the cub in his arms, and seems to take 2 steps to the edge of the pool. Nianbing stares at Yunwoo. She doesn't seem to notice Yunwoo's action. She frowns gently. Please speak quickly. Why is he here? How did you do that? Cloud Dance calms down and throws out a reasonable question at will. See, Red Eyes to smell speech, her that double star eye flickered a touch of undercurrent, as if for a moment, can see a trace of infatuated undercurrent from her eyes. Maybe you don't know that he is Kangxi, and Kangxi is him. Otherwise, when he breaks Jinlin's mask, he won't be absorbed. How can he appear in my Jingwon Hall? One soul. It turned out that the dragon was in a coma, so his soul was sucked here. No wonder the body is normal but unconscious. However, looking at Nianbing's infatuation, Yunwoo couldn't help being sarcastic. Is this woman really the ghost of her past life? But Cloud Dance at the foot of the action, but it is quietly carefully moved to the pool next to the hand behind. The cub climbed down along the Cloud Dancing clothes, fell on the ground, and quickly ran to the edge of the pool with short legs. It was rare for him to cleverly slide his body down from the edge. After removing a wave of water lines, there was no other movement. Why don't you want to come here, the evil in your mouth? Yunwoo didn't know what the cub was going to do, and continued to ask quietly. Nianbing seems to have a slight change on her face. Her mood fluctuates and her eyes are sad. I don't know anything. Yunwoo frowns. Her eyes fall on the pool. She is swimming towards the central lotus terrace. Then how can I call the Kangxi over? There's no need for me to say more about that, Just think of your own way. Just now also a sad face red ice, suddenly like being stabbed to pain, tough and a bit angry. Cloud Dance shrugged and said, if he doesn't want to come here, I'll go for nothing. No way. Nianbing interrupted Yunwu harshly, he can't be unwilling to see me, 3,000 years, 3,000 years. How could he not want to see me 3,000 years? I thought it was just 1,000 years, but I didn't expect it was a 300-year wait. Cloud Dance sneer, eyes swept has disappeared the small cub figure of the pool, just light way, why he does not want to see you, your heart should be the most clear is not it? Nianbing clenched her fists tightly, and her face seemed to be getting paler and paler. She seemed to have lost her soul. She suddenly collapsed on the ground, with dull eyes and murmuring to herself in a low voice. To tell you the truth, although it's the ghost of previous life, Cloud Dance doesn't have any compassion. Yunwu saw that in the pool, the vines tied to the hands and feet under Longqingxi were torn off. And the little cub is struggling under the dragon's body, only to see the dragon's shadow more and more light, and finally disappeared with the little cub. Cloud Dance in the heart is surprised, the face is still quietly indifferent, but in the heart is secretly guessing, small cub will dragon tilt evil to where. Before the cub reappeared, Nianbing noticed that it was wrong and looked into the pool. When he found that the person he had imprisoned had no trace at this time, he was shocked and immediately became angry, staring at the clouds angrily. You procrastinate 3 times and 4 times, just to take away the soul of Dragon Qingxie secretly? Yunwu smiles and looks at Nianbing's angry appearance. Suddenly, he feels that he didn't have any brain in his previous life. He has a feeling of disgust in his heart. So what? Now that the dragon has been taken away, what else can you do? If it is a provocation, Yunwu claims to be the second, and no one dares to be the first. See Reed Ice face a burst of green a burst of white, gnash teeth of looking at Cloud Dance, as if hate extremely. Take my things, you don't want to go, stay here with me. While speaking, Nianbing, dressed in white, has swept the cold. Yunwu stepped back, holding the ancient sword in his hand, and went away. Boom! And read the ice sent out by the frost collision, a loud noise, dead fire and frost is the same. Yunwu takes 2 steps back and stares at Nianbing. There is an accident in her eyes. This is the remnant spirit left 3,000 years ago. Now, is it still so powerful? How strong will it be in the world? Reed Ice didn't leave Cloud Dance breathing time, that palm big delicate small face is full of hate, 5 fingers into claws, with frost constantly toward Cloud Dance hit. How can she not hate in her heart? After waiting for 3,000 years, she finally got the chance to see the evil. Now she was destroyed by the woman in front of her. How can she calm down? Cloud Dance is forced to retreat, frown, learn to read ice, 5 fingers into claws. But on the hand is the jumping fire element. When it collides with Nianbing, the fire and ice, which are mutually reinforcing and restraining each other, vaporize a burst of white smoke. With the strength of the elements, all the decorations in the hall are knocked down. Boom! After the smoke dispersed, Yunwu suddenly found that the broken sculpture behind Nianbing showed a different color. If you look carefully, it's just Warcraft or animal fur. Yunwu's eyes showed surprise and turned to look away. Sure enough, the decorations on the ground were like the statue behind Nianbing. The shell cracked, revealing the rigid body inside. No wonder the ice sculptures here are all lifelike. They were originally made of living animals. When Yunwu looked back at Nianbing, there was a trace of disgust in her eyes, and she said in a cold voice, "Now I know why your evil doesn't want to see you." Since she said that Kangxi was the past life of Longqingxi, it was the man in white she met under the tree before. The man would frown when he saw her kill Warcraft, not to mention freezing it as decoration. However, Yunwu didn't understand why she didn't feel it at all if this woman and that Kangxi were really the past lives of her and Longqingxie. If it is a previous life, even if there is no memory, then the feeling will be some induction. But when she faced the ice, she didn't feel it at all. What's going on? Nianbing was stabbed to the pain, his pupils contracted, and his body was even more powerful. Yunwu saw that there was a slight chill around her. The broken ice sculptures on the ground and the water in the pool all gathered above Nianbing's head and slowly merged. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.